Just fetching my tea. Hello. So, I let Xbox pick the game tonight. I went, surprise me! And then picked the second game out of the list of games I wanted to stream, because the first game it picked is a 2-player game that I need to play with Jessie. So I couldn't stream that one. So, today we have Crimson Spires, which is developed by Woodsy Studio and East Asia Soft and published by East Asia Soft. Now, Woodsy Studio sounded familiar, but they did the Echoes of the Fae point-and-click game, visual novel that was like only available in the US. But thankfully, this one is available also in the UK and other regions. So this game came out on the 11th of August, too long ago, and is currently categorized as a visual novel. Yeah, thank you to ID at Xbox for code to stream this game. Blurb is, who can you trust as you investigate a town mysteriously cut off from the rest of the world? Take the role of Sheriff Erica Wright as an investigation brings her to the small mining town of Bataille, where she is suddenly trapped by a ring of deadly glowing towers encircling the community. Here, she meets residents of a disarming variety, from extreme conspiracy theorists to wealthy vampires and a serial killer. Guide Erica's decisions as she forms uneasy alliances and finds love through partnership. Amidst the horrors facing Bataille, romance can blossom with the few people Erica might be able to trust. Each potential relationship reveals valuable secrets about the towers and their surrounding mystery. So basically, sleep with everyone, find their secrets, and dump them. Good. Blending an eerie atmosphere with romance and supernatural mystery, Crimson Spires presents its Otome-style narrative with an uncommon degree of freedom. Along its multiple story paths, the experience shifts between rich 2D character art and 3D exploration, allowing you to investigate building interiors and immersing you in the town of Bataille. Additionally, this updated version of Crimson Spires includes New Game Plus, content that unlocks after completing all other story routes, interweaving previous narrative threads and bringing Erica's tale to a climactic finish driven by player choice. So this game is currently not on sale, but is available for the price of $19.99, £16.74, or €19.99. That's just the top 3 prices. It is available in other regions as well for other prices, but I'm not reading them all because that would be boring. So, I do not know whether it is voiced. And I need to put my volume on before I can decide, because I turned the TV down earlier because Cozy Grove was stuck in a loop. So hopefully that's not too loud. You can hear me, you can hear the game. I mean, I did do a test record literally like 3 minutes before I went live, so if you can't hear me or the game, then all I can say is technology, eh? Made in St. Louis. That's pretty. Woodsy Studio. Oh, I'm going to turn it down a touch till we find out whether we've got voices. We may, I don't remember whether the Fae one had voices. So, text speed, music volume. Oh, we've got a voice volume. I'm going to turn up the text size a little bit because I like to be able to see stuff. I've got terrible eyes. Turn down the sound effects, Todge, and the music. Controls. Standard controls. Oops. Right, okay. Extras. It's a gallery. We don't have anything in the gallery yet. Ooh! Interesting. No tower can keep us from the kingdom of heaven! Right. Let's see what we've got. It may be story time. It may not be. It may be voiced. It may be voiced in a different language. We will see in a moment. I may have to narrate. But this is what Xbox picks for us today. I've come to believe that the whole world is an enigma. A harmless enigma that is made terrible by our own mad attempt to interpret it as though it had an underlying truth. Umberto Eco, Foucault's Pendulum. I mean, so far it's intriguing. It's not going to require too much brain because it is 28 degrees in here. Okay, so there may be character voices, but I'm still going to narrate, so it's a partial story time. On a brisk autumn evening, the drive from Cape Girardeau to St. Louis feels like my reward for a job well done. The air is sharp and crisp. Colours dance before my eyes from the shifting sunset. It all seems so perfect and peaceful until my phone rings. Oh, reminds me, I didn't put it on not mute earlier because I was waiting for a phone call. It startled the life out of me and then I forgot to mute it afterwards. I don't know whether there's any voice. Did anyone hear a voice? Just going to turn it up a little bit. It may echo, but I'm just going to... Okay. This is Special Agent Wright. I'm currently driving on the interstate, so please call back unless this is urgent. No. Okay, it's not voiced. It has some sound effecty things, but it's not currently voiced. Okay. Erica, thank God. Chief Morris, I can give you a full report of the trial tomorrow morning. Right now, as I said, I'm... Yes, I know how you feel about vehicle safety, but this is urgent. Where are you right now? Yes, there was a very big swoosh. I'm on my way to St. Louis. I can't give you an exact location right now, but I passed Perryville approximately 10 minutes ago, and my speed is close enough. A prisoner transport van crashed near your location. A team is on the way, but you're a lot closer. I understand. Who is the prisoner in transport? August Flynn. My hand tightens on the steering wheel and the car swerves slightly. Do you mean the serial killer? The heartbreaker? That's the one. Shit. Let the record show that on this day, the 10th of September, I got Erica Wright to curse. This isn't the time for jokes, Morris. What's the van's location? I mean, you hear my voice though, Leaky, right? Morris's info sends me even deeper into the woods of rural Missouri, down winding roads past miles of farmland to a small town called Bataille. I'm going to pronounce it as if it's French, because that's what I would see it as. It's probably not, but Bataille seems... If it does a voice at any point, I will let it correct me. I don't know why it said voices volume if it ain't got no voices. As I approach the town, I get an achievement before I even know what I've encountered that's special. Was that a werewolf? I swerved to the shoulder barely in time to keep from hitting some kind of large creature. It was too big to be a deer. Could it have been a bear? My heart is racing. I struggle to catch my breath. If I had reacted a second later, both the animal and I might be dead. In any case, I managed to avoid a crash, and time is of the essence, so I resumed driving. I don't get much further before I see it. Crunched van leans face first against the side of the road. Metal and glass debris cover the ground in all directions. Could have caused a crash like this. The van shouldn't have been driving very fast. Why was the transport van in Bataille in the first place? It's all so strange, and I suddenly wish I had kept Morris on the phone to ask more questions. But I don't have time for such curiosity now. Lives are at stake. Ooh! Yeah, so I think at this point it goes from visual novel to at least adventure. I can move. City limit, Bataille. Population 729. Why does it look like bits of meat? Oh no, there's peoples. I see that the doors of the van are wrenched open. Spatters of blood gleam in the smashed interior. Below the open door, the body of a federal marshal lies limp. I see several dead bodies around the van. It's probable they died from injuries in the crash, but one of them... I lean down to examine his injuries. Yeah, have I managed to somehow turn the damn things off? It says voice volume, right? You know, I've not... I made the text size bigger. I don't know why it doesn't have any voice. Oh well, it's getting Joe voice then. His neck is red and scraped. It seems like he was strangled to death. August Flynn did this. My hand goes to my gun. I straighten back up and I scan the area. I see a small splash of blood several yards away. Perhaps August or another survivor fled the crash whilst wounded. A blinding flash of lightning splits the sky. Thunder shakes the earth right after, punching my eardrums. I see the silhouette of a large mansion on a hill in the distance. No time for sightseeing. A dangerous killer is on the loose. Historic Bandit Saloon, Ozark Village, open 9 till 5. Tours, hotel, campus, dining. Blood should not glow this bright red, just to be clear. Live bait. Steve's liquor store. The trailer is sparse, but I follow the specks of blood to a small liquor store. I rap on the door with the faintest flurry of knocks I can muster. FBI, please answer the door. This is Special Agent Erica Wright with the... The door wrenches open. On the other side stands a gruff, dishevelled man in his 50s. I flash my badge at him. FBI? What the hell are you doing here? Sir, were you aware of the crash just down the road? What crash? I guess I heard something. I thought I was thunder. Sir, has anyone suspicious or unfamiliar come to your shop within the last 15 minutes? Just some FBI agent banging on door after hours? Swallow my frustration and conclude that this man will be of no help to me whatsoever. A dangerous criminal is in the area. Please remain indoors and alert authorities if you encounter a Caucasian male in his 30s with blonde hair. Any criminal I meet can say hello to the Remington 12 gauge I keep at my desk. Thanks to your concern, officer, but I'll be just fine on my own. He shuts the door in my face. The sky grumbles. I look up. A heavy wave of rain rushes to the earth. The blood was hard enough to see in the dark. Now it's hopeless. Clearly August was headed away from the town. I doubt he'd go into the woods during a storm, so all I can do is head down the highway. Just I'm about to leave the liquor store.
Agent Wright, you're here. Oh, thank God.
Right, so he has a voice? A familiar man emerges from behind the store. Why is he wearing pajamas? I recognise him as Bradley Jones, a federal marshal I've worked with on a few cases. He was likely one of the officers transporting August and the only one to survive the crash. It's good to see you, Jones. Catch me up on what's going on here.
We pulled up at a gas station just outside of Battelle. Just as we were pulling out, something... I think a bear appeared next to the van.
Bear?
I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but something was definitely there. Finlay, the driver, he started to have a panic attack. He thought it was chasing us.
Bears don't usually chase cars.
I tried to get him to calm down, but he wouldn't stop speeding. I offered to drive, but he refused to stop. Someone grabbed the wheel. It might have been me. Then everything went black. I woke up. Finlay, Miller, Gant. They were all dead. I guess I was the lucky one.
And August Flynn?
Gone. I think he killed Gant and escaped. Don't know why he spared me. Maybe he thought I was dead.
We have to find him.
I thought he might be hiding behind the store. He definitely didn't head into town, and there's nothing that way for miles.
More agents are on their way. We'll canvass the woods when we can.
Well, if I'm gonna sit here and wait for him, not after what that monster did to Gant.
I wasn't planning on waiting. Every minute he gets further away. Are you okay to keep going?
My head hurts, but nothing I can't deal with.
He's on foot and he's injured. He was headed this way, so I hope we can catch up.
Thanks for the help, Agent Wright. I'm so glad you're here. Well, I guess until the cavalry arrives, it's just the two of us.
Okay. Can I kick him in the balls? Is that an appropriate reaction to him winking cheesily at me whilst being covered in blood? Then let's get to work. So we have some voices, not others, so we're gonna see. We search the nearby road and woods, but we find no more signs of the Heartbreaker. Meanwhile, Jones is more injured than he's letting on, dragging his foot behind him. Hi, Scruff. I start to wonder if he left the trail of blood himself. If so, are we even going in the right direction? I suggest we return to my car and continue the search by vehicle. Jones agrees, and we retrace our steps back to the crash. Suddenly, another flash of lightning distracts me for a second. I see a dark shape on the edge of my vision and start to turn. No, we're not kicking Scruff, we're kicking the Jones guy.
Erica, watch out!
He's got them Captain America star on him. Oh, it said Tours Hotel Camping Dining. That makes more sense than campus. I draw my gun and spin around, but I'm not the one Arateka goes for. No, he's smarter than that. He goes after the injured one. He rushes from the woods so fast I barely have time to face him before he tackles Jones and pulls him to his feet. Hi, Alkash! He's wearing prison garb, but his hands and feet are free. He holds a sharp piece of glass and presses it into Jones's neck. I mean, Jones's is voiced. You'd think if he's not a bit part, he's probably not going to die here. August Flynn, drop the weapon now or I'll shoot.
Don't be too hasty, Agent. If you fire a shot, my hand might slip.
Okay, he's also voiced. I realise my own hands are shaking. I've never been in a hostage situation like this. I half expected August Flynn to be a raving madman. Instead, his gaze is icy and hollow, sending a chill down my spine. You have nowhere to go, Heartbreaker. Reinforcements are on the way.
Please don't call me that. August will do. As for your reinforcements, perhaps they'll meet the same sorry fate as our van on the way to the tail.
The tail, not the tie. What are you talking about? The bear? August prods Jones gently with the tip of the glass.
Do you really think it was a bear, Jones?
I thought it was a werewolf, but then it said there might be vampires, so I immediately went, werewolf!
I don't know. I didn't get a good look.
Well, I did. As did the poor driver of that van. He knew what he'd seen, and if you ask me, he acted quite appropriately.
I feel anxious standing here talking, rather than taking action, but in truth it's useful to stall until reinforcements arrive. So, what did you think you saw, August?
I don't think you'll believe me, and I wouldn't blame you. But I don't think that creature we encountered is documented in any science book. A priori, the only word to describe it is monster.
Oh, come on.
Was it a bear? I doubted it, but I'm not inclined to believe August's far-fetched version of events either.
So you see, Agent, there are monsters nearby much more dangerous than I.
August makes small steps, moving them both backwards. Not another step.
Truly, Agent, I would not advise trying to shoot me in these circumstances.
He keeps moving, but unfortunately he's right. If I try to shoot him, I could easily shoot Jones instead. Or August will use that shard of glass on Jones's throat. My heart races. What can I do? I've always had good aim, but my hands don't feel steady. I have to do something. I can't just stand here. Okay. Save. There we go. Stall. No one has to get hurt today. Can't be long before backup arrives. I was the closest agent, but there will be others. There's only one road into town, so if I can keep them close. I suppose this is where you make your demands.
My demands?
This is a hostage situation, isn't it? You don't really want to hurt Jones. You want something. You want a way to escape, I'm guessing.
If I'm being honest, I didn't really think about it.
What's everyone
I'm playing
doing
the
today?
situation by ear. This wasn't some master plan of mine, you know.
Everyone doing okay? I mean, I can't believe it's Tuesday already. It feels like Monday just sort of disappeared. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. It's hot here, so less fun. But this is so far intriguing. Well, now's your chance to give it some thought. He tightens his grip on the shard of glass. I watch carefully, hoping he'll slip and cut himself, giving me a moment to act.
I suppose I should ask for your car keys. The van certainly isn't going anywhere, and I don't see any other way out of this town before your reinforcements arrive.
If I give you the keys, will you give me Jones?
Of course not, then you will just shoot me.
I won't shoot you if you don't hurt him.
I'm not a fool.
No, but you do look a bit wide-eyed and crazy. Then what's your plan? Take Jones with you?
Yes, and he can do the driving. Once we're far enough out of town, I'll let him go.
I'm not a fool either, August.
You arrested the wrong person. I'm not the Heartbreaker. I'm not a killer.
So why are you threatening a man with a shard of glass? And why did you kill Gant? You're acting like one.
I'm trying to survive.
He's talking, that's good. Maybe if I keep him occupied a little longer. Then tell me, what's your side of the story? Why were you arrested?
You're going to have to ask your colleagues that. Now, I think you're trying to stall, so...
I jolt, almost dropping my gun as an eerie wail splits my ears. The ground rumbles, lights flash in my eyes. What is happening? August and Jones are struggling again. The noise must have distracted August long enough for Jones to make a move. I rush towards them looking for an opening and ram my fist into August's face. August staggers backwards. Jones breaks free and then recovers his own gun. A few breaths later, we both have August at gunpoint. August, meanwhile, stares at something else.
What the?
Something is rising out of the ground, more than one. Metallic structures wide enough to fit several people inside and tall enough to... I don't even know how tall they are, because they seem to stretch into the sky. For a moment I wonder if they will keep rising, but they have finally stopped. I struggle to remember my purpose. Hi, Dan! It's hot. I couldn't decide what to play, so I asked Xbox, and it suggested this. I'm impressed so far. It's got enough intrigue, and it's got some voices, so I don't have to voice all the men, which is great. There's enough voices for everyone, just some people, so we're just rolling with it. How are you doing? How is Milo? I lift my gun and advance on August again. Get on your knees. His face pale, August complies. His gaze remains on the tower.
It's happening.
What's happening? Do you have any idea where this tower came from? Jones seems to have forgotten about August completely. He approaches the tower gaping.
There's some sort of mechanism on the left and right side, like a laser sensor.
Oh, poor hot doggy. He keeps walking around, his hand passing over the sensor. Ow, I just whacked myself in the... voice, I thought he would last! And ow. God! Ooh, you're going to a lake. I like it. Yeah, I have a week and a half. The end of the month. Going to stay with family and cats it. Which should hopefully be good. Get away from as much tech as I can. And then play on my Xbox for a little bit. But yeah, so what the fish? Jones falls to the ground with a splash of blood. Don't touch the sensors. His head is gone. Maybe I scream. I don't even know. I cannot process what is happening anymore. Jones is dead. Something shot him. I don't know why. I don't know what. I don't know where it came from. Nothing makes sense anymore. Of their own accord, my feet move towards him.
Don't.
And then a hand yanks me back, right before I step past the same sensors Jones did. August stands next to me, a cold smirk on his
It
face.
would be a shame for you to make the same mistake as your friend there. You seem more intelligent. Perhaps you're in shock. Please, remember later that I just saved your life?
Oh.
We shouldn't walk past that tower, and I highly doubt your reinforcements will reach us.
He points to the side and behind us and in every direction. The silhouettes of multiple towers reach into the sky, forming a large ring around the town of the Tail. Yes, I plan to get away from London. I got my car sorted, I got people sorted, I need to sort my route, my halfway route. Well, I need to sort both my routes, all my routes I need to sort. And stuff, but it's booked and I'm looking forward to it. Should be good. I just need to get away from London. You know. So it sounds Scottish, the place that you're going, because there's a lock. So it should be nice and cool. And if there's a lock, then there is water for Milo to paddle in, which sounds fun.
I believe we're surrounded.
I mean, I'm intrigued. Everyone else intrigued? Anyone else intrigued? This is Crimson Spires. I may not have actually said that. But this is Crimson Spires. 6 months. 187 days. 6 months have passed since the day of the contingency. But it feels like a lifetime. We've lost all contact with the outside world. I still have no idea why the large towers appeared, or whether the rest of the world fares any better than we do. But the towers aren't the only thing that changed that day. I never saw the city hall in its original form, but it used to be a small, humble building, exactly what you'd expect in a rural town. Now it's a looming high-rise, marking the exact center point between all 36 spires. Glasgow! Love Glasgow. Oh, that sounds nice. Sounds really good, Dan. I hope you have a lovely time. When is your few weeks? Because I'm heading off on 27th of September. Back on the 6th. Not that I'm going to Glasgow, I just wondered whether you would miss streams or whether it would coincide. Not that it matters. I'm just really curious when you're actually going. So, the City Hall became a high-rise. We've been there 6 months. I can't imagine any food is getting in, and I can't imagine that a small town had made many supplies. And it had 760-something people. Ah, just before. Okay, fair enough. There was like population 762 or something like that. You know, that's a lot of mouths to feed, you know, if there's no steady supply coming in, unless there's, you know, a farm or something, but even still. No one knows what the new floors contain. No one can penetrate the building beyond the ground level. Phones don't work. Planes don't fly overhead. The only thing that enters is oh, here we go. We answer this question. It's an automated train that brings food. We don't know where the train comes from, although the Bataille family seems to fund its operation. They refuse to comment. People tried to leave, of course. The police force even banded together and tried to disable a tower. They all died. It's in America. I don't think they have Asda in America. I'm the only law enforcement agent remaining in town, so now I serve as Bataille's sheriff. 6 months. But food's coming in, so there we go. Chapter 1! We did the prologue. It only took half an hour. I have to say, extremely intrigued. I arrive at work and prepare some coffee. The noise wakes August, who sits up from his bed in the nearby cell.
Hello there.
Okay, that's... He also says good morning to you, Sheriff Wright. Please don't let me do half a voice, because I can't imitate that. I ignore him and open a copy of the Battail Beacon. Fresh from the local press, August peers anxiously from the bars of his prison. Oh, now he's not voiced again. Is that a new edition? That's not your concern.
But...
But you gave me one last month. And you, yes, used it to scare Billy. I liked Billy. He used to bring me free linens from his mum's shop.
Huh?
How did I scare him away? You said he was the secret love child of a Russian spy, born of a forbidden affair, and you somehow deduced this from a picture you saw of his family in the paper. I might have gotten carried away with that story, but I must have hit upon some truth if I scared him away. Besides, all the truth is absolutely relative, unless it's relatively absolute. I'm not in the mood for useless platitudes this morning, August. I sip my coffee and continue to read the paper, flipping pages loud enough for him to notice.
Hey.
You really won't give me a copy? I answer by peering close at an article in the paper as if I didn't hear him. August paces back and forth in his cell for a while until finally...
Well...
Hi, Lady Marguerite! I just noticed you were late this morning. No, I wasn't. Yes, you were by exactly 6 minutes. How would you know? You were asleep. Actually, I wasn't. I couldn't sleep a wink last night. Is something wrong with your cell? Everything is wrong with my cell, but I couldn't sleep because something significant will happen soon. I'm sure of it. Something significant? That's right. So you can see the future now.
Caterus paribus.
The future is as real as the present, Sheriff. We exist in eternity, therefore... I told you, I'm not in the mood. What do you think will happen?
Well...
I'm not sure of the details yet. It would help a lot if I could read the paper. Or if I could imitate voices. I sigh and shake my head. There you go, playing mind games again. I won't fall for it, August.
My friend.
I'm quite serious, my friend. As serious as the day of the contingency 6 months ago. Despite myself, my heart skips a beat. I see the towers rising into the heavens as if it just happened 1 moment ago. I also remember the look of shock, but not confusion, on August's face as he said, "It's happening." The foundation of truth has already shattered, as I knew it would. The mansion of brick has disintegrated into sand. Now the sand must take a new shape. I am certain this must happen, and I believe it will happen very soon. I don't understand the choice to voice half a character. To voice a character that gets his head lopped off in the first half an hour, well, depending on how you play the game, and not to voice the main character. But it's so confusing. It's like inconsistency. I mean, I understand voice actors are expensive, but it just seems weird. I am certain that this must happen, and I believe it will happen very soon. Nothing you just said made any sense.
Isn't that lovely?
But that's because it shouldn't. I'm done listening to August nonsense. I pick up the paper and resume trying to read it. My mind wonders. There's nothing interesting in the Battail Beacon. I don't know what else I expected. Well, he was voiced in the prologue, and now he's doing comments but not voicing it. It's the same character. Maybe I can find some actual work to do. Resistance against drugs. Wanted. That looks like a puppy. No one wants a puppy. I'm not sure why we keep these phones around. They don't work anymore. I suppose I maintain the small hope that one day someone will call through from the other side. But that's a foolish hope to cling to. More than anything, these phones are just a sad reminder of the world we no longer have. I glance inside August's cell, as if to ensure that everything is in order. But I'm feeling restless enough that I might as well talk to him while I'm here. Ask about his murders. Maybe if you finally confess your crimes as the Heartbreaker, I'll give you a book to read.
Don't call me that.
We'll just leave it at that. Oh, I forgot. You don't like that nickname. Let me rephrase. You single-handedly murdered 7 people in cold blood and tore their hearts from their bodies. Am I wrong? Of course you're wrong. Do my hands look like they belong to such a cold-blooded killer? No, 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 no. Why don't you feel them for yourself, Sheriff? You'll find they're soft, warm, and ever so gentle. I'll be a fool to grant such a request to a prisoner.
Erica.
But I'm not asking for me, Sheriff. I'm asking for your sake. How long has it been since you touched someone in a manner that wasn't aggressive, I mean? I'm sure you've been lonely here in Battail. You must spend more time with me than anyone else, and how about before that? Did you have any friends that would embrace you? Or a lover, perhaps? Stop it!
Was that so bad?
What's wrong? Do my questions make you uncomfortable? I wonder why. Wipe that smirk off your face. I guess I've never asked you much about your life before the contingency. Other than kill people, what did you do?
You have me all wrong.
Well, for starters, I didn't kill people. I taught them. I was a professor of philosophy at Washington University. Aye, that's right. I think I heard that in the news when they first arrested you. Did you find a philosophical reason to commit murder? Please stop derailing me. I was a fantastic professor. My students adored me. What else did you do? Any hobbies?
Can you imagine?
Of course. I volunteered at the local dog shelter. I have a way with animals, you know. Once I coaxed a feral dog into the shelter without so much as a leash, even after all the shelter employees had tried catch poles and failed. Why should I believe a word you say? Because you can't prove me wrong. Besides, if your mind can perceive it, then the reality must exist. Otherwise, it cannot be perceived. That's not very convincing.
Well...
I'm also a great chef. I was a vegan for 5 years, did you know that? You learn a lot of interesting ways to mix flavors eating vegan. Maybe I could cook for you sometime. We're done talking about this. So, how are you this morning?
Marvelous.
Me? Oh, I'm doing splendidly. How kind of you to ask. Ugh. You said you didn't sleep last night. True. This was unfortunate, but it was the good kind of restlessness, the way an innocent child feels the night before Christmas. Where's this optimism coming from? Oh, I could try to explain, but you probably keep giving me that blank stare of yours. You're jailed indefinitely for the murder of 7 people, for which you'll never get a proper trial. Meanwhile, you're also trapped in the small town of Battail, indefinitely.
There is no true world.
You're trapped in a prison far worse than mine, Sheriff Wright. The prison of your own mind. You fail to see the beauty of this entire situation. We may never have contact with the outside world again, if it even still exists. How is that beautiful? I'm so glad you asked. You and I are witnessing a unique event in human, no, earthly history. The myth of materialism is dissolved and a new reality is revealed to us.
Hope is evil.
Monism dies and the complexities of pluralism reveal themselves. I cannot wait to see what truths rise to the surface. I believe that I am here in Battail because it is the center of this transformation. I believe I was drawn here to witness it all firsthand. The only way my situation could get any better is if I could walk out this cell and study those metaphysical transformations more closely. You're insane.
Don't do that.
again.
Disagree with me all you like, Erica, but never call me that again. It's fine, he's a cardboard cutout. I sit down to read the paper again. Nothing else seems to require my attention. But I'm anxious now, gripping my coffee mug and squirming in my chair. After a few minutes, I give up and fling the paper across the room. I'm not saying that. August stares at me in confusion. Even he is surprised by my outburst.
What?
Is there something scandalous in the news? There's nothing in the paper, as usual. Nothing but gossip, theories about the birds, a sale at the furniture store, and a new play being held at Patale High School. It's all bullshit. I fling my coffee cup off my desk and it smashes to bits. A long silence follows my outburst. When I finally recover enough to look at August, I see a strange look in his eyes. What are you looking at?
Duh.
You're acting unusual. It's the first morning since you became sheriff that you arrived to work late. Certainly the first time I've ever seen you throw a tantrum. There's a side of you I've never seen before. I think it's called cabin fever. Definitely been there. I mean, it would depend. Is there an internet connection? Can you get books? Can you play games? Are there movies? Because, I could certainly waste about 6 months, and then I probably would become really bored. The edges of his lips curl up ever so tightly, but I always suspected it was there. Shut up! Stop looking at me! I recover the paper from the floor, then fling it into his cell. Here's your newspaper. He doesn't move towards it. He just keeps on smiling his strange smile at me.
How interesting.
Never mind. I don't think I need it anymore. I know that he's playing me again. He wants to lash out, but I just can't stop. Why are you obsessed with Asda, Dan? I storm up to his cell and lean close to the bars, baring my teeth. You're right, okay, I'm not myself. This fucking town is warping me. I don't understand anything anymore. There has to be a reason we're trapped here, an explanation for the barricade. But every day passes without a clue as to what's going on, and I don't even know where to look for answers. 6 months. 6 months without a single hint of contact from the outside world, and everyone who tries to leave gets an explosion in their skull. I had a good job. I had a good boss. I liked my co-workers. I loved working for the FBI, and I was on my way to a promotion. Now I spend my best days keeping a bunch of gun-toting farmers from blowing each other's heads off. And my worst days, which are most of them, I spend pacing around in a stale grey building with you as my only company. Hi, Jess. Tried. It's hard to get into it. But thank you. Okay. It's America! What convenience stores does America have? We're in Missouri, for crying out loud. I don't think it has an Asda or a Morrison's. I don't even know what departments, what food department stores does America have? I don't know. But yes, I would love to do voiceovers or audiobooks. I'm not massively consistent with my voices, though. I'm hoping to be able to do a bit part on one of the Diaveki games at some point. But yeah, Wintergreens or Applebee's, Macy's. I mean, does Best Buy do food? Is that a thing? I don't know. I literally have no experience of shopping for food. Hooters is not a grocery store. I'm not maybe gullible. I'm not that gullible. What did I do to deserve this? How on earth did I earn this punishment?
Life is irrational.
You're not being punished. No one is judging you. Don't even start one more word out of your mouth, and I swear to God, I'll... Without thinking, I draw my gun and cock it at him. There's a flash of surprise in his eyes, but it fades quickly into amusement. Phew, what? Am I really losing my mind? My arms lower, but my hands continue to clench my gun of their own accord. I can't. I just can't take this anymore. Maybe this is what I predicted would happen today. Maybe the transformation I sensed on the verge of completion was you, Erica Wright. Lift that weapon and aim it at me. Pull the trigger. See what happens.
Do go on.
I hesitate. My hands shaking around the weapon, halfway between the holster and August. This can't be happening. Any of it. I shouldn't be here. I can't really be trapped in Battail forever. It's like I am trapped in a nightmare. Each morning I think it will be the day I wake up, but nothing happens. Sheriff Wright! Sheriff Wright! Sheriff, please, are you... I quickly holster my gun as I turn to face our visitor. I'm embarrassed that she might have seen me acting so foolish, but she's too distracted to notice anything amiss. You have to help me, Sheriff! My Jessica is missing! Please, I've looked everywhere, but she's just... gone! She's gone! Just gone! Slow down, Mrs. Murdoch. Take a deep breath. I can see that you're distraught, but I need you to tell me the facts. I mean, it's generous with the achievements. I've had 3 already in 45 minutes, which is pretty cool. You're talking about Jessica Murdoch, your daughter, correct? Do you believe she is missing? Yes, but it's not just her. Gary Reed, her good-for-nothing boyfriend, he's gone too. Please, try not to panic. This is a small town and 2 people are easier to find than 1. Once I know more about the situation, there's a very high chance we'll find them. Thank you, Sheriff. Can you start by telling me when you had last had contact with Jessica? Last night. She told me when she was spending the night with Gary. I was furious, but I've already done what I can to save that girl from her sins. She'll have to find the Lord on her own terms, you know? Well, that's quite recent. What happened when you looked for her this morning? Gary's folks called me, asking where he was. I said I hadn't a damn clue. The Reed said Gary's room was cleared out, like he packed his things up and left. And then I checked Jessica's room and it was the same way. A tremor runs through her. She claps her hand to her mouth as if to hold back a torrent of sobs. But that just can't be. That just can't be. Where on earth would they run off to? I force a swallow down my throat. The answer hangs silently in the air between us. I hear a short puff of breath, but it's not from Mrs. Murdoch. I turn to see August smirking softly from his cell. I glare, daggers at him, but he knows the rules. If he interrupts me while I'm working, he'll lose one of his creature comforts. I'll need you to answer some general questions about both Jessica and Gary for me. Please do your best to answer, but if you don't know anything, tell me who might. Dan! I mean, an automated train bringing in food is more plausible than a town with a population of 726 people surviving for 6 months. So, you know, on the balance of plausibilities. I ask her a lot of the procedural questions required for a missing persons report. Physical description, medical condition, clothing, and so on. I believe what I told Mrs. Murdoch. Chances of finding Jessica and Gary, whether they're alive or dead, is very high. Uncomfortably high. This isn't the first time this has happened. People give up, they can't take the town anymore. Or maybe they think it'll be different for them. It never is. I find another body just past the perimeter. It's sad, but over the last few months, it's tragically commonplace. So, why do I have this terrible feeling in my gut? This growing knot of anxiety twisting and turning like the answer won't be simple as I want. Is anything simple anymore? I hope I can find them alive. I hope they're just hiding. One way or another, though. They'll be found. Until then, I'll just do my job to the best of my ability. I wonder if they could be in this new tower thing. Maybe some people are being chosen to go in the tower. We don't really know enough yet. It's only chapter 1. Right. Okey-dokes. Thank you for all that information. Now just a few more questions. Tell me about Jessica and Gary. Gary's a dropout, a damn fool and a bad influence. Isn't it good that Jessica's boyfriend was in the tale? Can you imagine if... Hardly have to imagine what that would be like. It happened to Courtney and Jeremy and all sorts of other people. I guess you don't talk to them much. Not unless they're getting in trouble. Well, if you ask me, everything would have been a lot better if Gary had been on the other side of those towers when they appeared. Apologies about the flashing. Hopefully we'll get out of this scene soon. Gary's a terrible influence. Made Jessica stop going to church. You hate him so much you want his head blown off? Right on the other side, maybe a mile north or something. Would have given Jessica a clean break. Unless she tried to go and find him. Don't even say such things. It's what a few people did. I do know their names and I know exactly where they are right now. Stop it! What does that have to do with anything? I think your disapproval of Jessica's relationship might have something to do with why she ran away. Have you considered that? Of course I had. I don't need you to figure out why she left, just to find where she is. So do you have anything else? What did Jessica like to do in her free time? Before or after the towers? After would probably be more helpful. I don't really know. She used to play basketball, she used to draw. Not so much anymore. She mostly spends her time in her room, sometimes hanging out behind the dollar store with a couple of other kids her age. I try to stay busy. I hope she does too. It sounds like you've been spending less time with her since the contingency. Not intentionally, it's just... She's been withdrawn, I suppose we all have. It's strange now that all we have is each other. You also lost a lot of people in the first few weeks. Did you or Jessica lose anyone? Our neighbour George Harper tried to leave on the second day. He worked at the Walmart Walmart! There we go! There's a Walmart! Up in St. Anne, and he thought that since he couldn't call in, he had to make his shift. I tried to tell him not to go. The blue truck out on Highway 8. She nods. How well did Jessica know him? He babysat her a couple of times when I had to work late. Other than that, we were neighbours. We knew him. I suppose that makes sense. He's gone now. The house is empty. Jessica's not there, if that's what you're thinking. I wasn't. Then George has nothing to do with any of this. Any other questions? Other than Gary, who are some of Jessica's friends? Most of them didn't live in Batale. You know the high school was out in Clarksville. I know. It's been very hard for her, you know. What about in Batale? Did she have anyone she associated with in town? Only Sarah. They were just acquaintances before. Jessica was a bit of a troublemaker. Nothing serious, you know, but Sarah was always so straight-laced. Now I guess they're best friends. Not much choice when you think about it. Most of the kids her age around here aren't as quick as Jessica or Sarah, if you know what I mean. Were they at the top of their class? The high school? Nah, but they weren't bad. But now at the Batale school? I guess that's where Sarah is today. Probably. I went over to her house. Parents hadn't seen Jessica either. Thanks. I'm sure I'll talk to her. Those are all the questions I have for now. One more thing I forgot to mention. This might seem unrelated, but Jessica was very obsessed with the Batale family. The Batales? Yes, the ones who founded this town, right? You're not from here. Everyone respects the Batales. Old money. Built those lead mines from dirt and stone. But ever since the mines closed, the Batales only come out for church. That's the only reason Jessica ever went to any services. Jessica would try to corner one of those poor Batale children and pepper them with questions. What do they do with all their money? How do they spend all their time locked up in that big mansion of theirs? She was so very rude. The Batales never answered such questions, of course. They're too polite to answer such questions. They would steer the conversation back to our saviour, Lucius Christ. You mean Jesus Christ? Like anger and disappointment flashes over her face. No. You must have me confused with the lost ones. I said and I meant Lucius. I hear a laugh and glance over at August. He's grinning maniacally, almost rocking back and forth in his excitement. I am amazed that he resists talking, because it's clear there is something he wants to say so badly it's killing him. Anyway, Jessica still tried to find out more about the Batales, whatever she could, especially after the towers came. She said that if anyone could save us from this town... No, cause Erica just said, you mean Jesus Christ? I mean, Walmart will mark. That's probably a copyright thing or a trademark. She said that if anyone could save us from this town, it was the Batale family. I know that might be unrelated, but I felt that I should mention it all the same. Thank you. I'm glad you did. Now, you give me a few leads. I'll follow up with the Reeds and Jessica's friend Sarah for more information. But first I'll need to... My pause is too heavy. Mrs. Murdoch lowers her eyes with dread. I'll need to eliminate the first possibility. If Jessica tried to leave the town perimeter, we should be able to find evidence. I'll let you know as soon as I can whether I find anything. After Mrs. Murdoch leaves, I start to gather my things, but I can feel August's eyes on me all the while. I can already sense the words on his tongue preparing to come out. Not a word, August. Not even if I know what happened to Jessica. I gape at him.
A priori.
She's dead, so is Gary. I'm about 95% certain of that, but it's not what you think. They didn't die at the perimeter. I'll let the facts speak for themselves. Jessica strikes me as a smart girl. She and Gary wouldn't just try to walk out like those dumb cops a few months ago. She would have had a plan. You don't even know her unless she's paying you visits when I'm asleep. I'm fairly sure you never even met her. That doesn't matter. I heard enough from you and her mother. She had a plan. She really thought she could leave, but her plan backfired, and I bet it had something to do with the Batales. Unfortunately for you, I don't care what you think. I head for the door. Wait, Erica, I can help you. Let me help you. I stop and stare at him in shock. Let you help me? I don't understand. What exactly are you suggesting? You know what? You're tired of being roommates, aren't you? Give me some freedom. Let me help you with your case. Absolutely not. Ever! I have a good sense for what's happening in this town, even from my cell. Remember how I predicted Mr. Peterson was having an affair? That one was obvious, and you were absolutely wrong about Billy being the secret love child.
Well...
Can't prove that. The answer's no. He gives me another one of his sly smiles. I can tell you about Lucius. What?
Oh, this is interesting.
Wasn't that strange, Sheriff? Wasn't that a very bizarre thing to say, Lucius Christ? Did you ever hear that name before the contingency? I don't pay much attention to religion. Lucius Christ didn't exist before the contingency, but I can tell you more about him. I hesitate. I almost want to ask him to explain, but I know what he's doing. He doesn't know anything. He's just trying to get in my head. He's done this before, usually about the contingency. You're lying. Me? Never. I won't let you out, August, no matter how many made-up stories you try and tell me.
Whatever you say.
You'll change your mind, Sheriff, right? Okay. Oh, I can move. Oh, good morning, Sheriff Wright. I almost bumped into you then. Good morning, Mayor. Can I help you with something? No, I'm just out of coffee. Would you mind if I... Oh, go ahead. You look like you're on a mission. I just received a missing persons report. 2, in fact. Missing persons, but... I know. It's a small town. I'm sure I'll find them soon, alive or... not. Yes, of course. Let's pray you find the former. Are you sure you don't want to stay a few more minutes? You could fill me in while I pour my coffee. I noticed him glancing nervously into the police department. You'll be fine, Jeff. Stay away from the bars and August can't touch you. I know he can't touch me, but the man sends the damnedest things. Welcome to my world, Mayor. I trust you can handle him long enough to pour your coffee. Irritated, I hurry past the mayor and continue outside. My first task is to investigate the most grim and most likely possibility. Jessica and Gary tried to leave Battail and ended up like the others. This means travelling the entire perimeter of the town and counting bodies. Since the night of the contingency, 73 people have attempted to leave Battail. Every single one was cut down by the towers. I know all of them now. Maybe I don't know all of their names, but I know their locations. I know where I found them. The sad truth is there is no way to recover them. I know, because people have tried, and then they've joined the bodies that they were trying to save. The towers do not care if you're trying to leave. One step too far and they end you, no matter what your intentions. So the bodies remain, and every time someone goes missing, I have to count them. Soon the number will start to go down. Animals don't touch the bodies, but natural decay will make them impossible to spot from a safe distance. Fortunately, I only have to worry if the number goes up. I start where I always do, at the largest group of dead. It is where the Battail police and a few local veterans assaulted the tower near the northmost point in town. They thought they could destroy it. They thought they could bring it down with explosives, and when all their guns and rockets and dynamite couldn't scratch it, they tried to go around to the other side. A small memorial is here near the tower. The mayor and I dedicated it last month. The townspeople put flowers on the plaque occasionally. The flowers there are wilted today, dampened by the rain and beginning to decay. I don't see any new bodies. The count starts at 14. It takes me almost 2 hours to fully circle the town looking for 2 new corpses. I'm careful. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to give their families false hope. As I return to the memorial, my count is still 73. I think I'm relieved, though. It means my job is just beginning. My car was almost impaled by a tower. So at the very least, I have what I had in my car. The Battail School, formerly Reno Middle School, is the only school in the town. There aren't many students. Only 148 by the last count. It serves children from daycare all the way through high school. I was surprised when people started at the school. I wasn't sure how important it would be or how much the students could learn from the limited teaching pool. August even volunteered to teach, as much as he hates children, but that was never going to happen. At the very least, the school serves as a place for the children and teenagers of Battail to stay during the day, and that's where I expect to find Jessica's friend, Sarah Carpenter. The principal of Battail School, Terry Vincent, who also serves as an English teacher. She was a relatively new teacher at the junior high before the contingency. Even that little experience was enough to make her the most qualified person to run the school. The power had gone to her head. Always does, doesn't it? I see you're here to disrupt classes again, Sheriff. I hope you have a good reason. Jessica Murdoch is missing. I'm sure you know that already. You mean to say Miss Murdoch is skipping school? I'm glad you're looking for her, but she's not here. I know that. Then why are you here? Why aren't you looking for her? She needs to be in class. I'm glad that you're finally taking up my suggestion to work on our delinquency problem, but most students who skip school just stay home. Maybe they hang out behind the diner. You could go find them if you wanted. That's not what's happened here. No one can find Jessica or her boyfriend Gary. Have you checked the perimeter? Of course I have. Now I'm here to talk to Sarah Carpenter. She was one of Jessica's best friends, and she might have an idea of where she is. Sarah's in class right now. Well, they're certainly not in it for the money, are they, Dan? I know that, Terry. Principal Vincent. In my school, I am Principal Vincent. Do you really believe that Sarah Carpenter can tell you enough to justify pulling her out of class? I need to find Jessica, Principal Vincent. Fine, I'll go get her. Terry Vincent is gone for a few minutes and returns with Sarah, a preppy 17-year-old who is one of the few teens in Battail I haven't arrested at least once over the last few months. Principal Vincent takes a seat behind her desk while Sarah sits down next to me. Do you mind? Mind what? I'd like a little privacy. This is my office. I might ask a question or two that Sarah doesn't want to answer in front of you. All the more reason for you to stay. No, not when the priority here is Jessica Murdoch. Do you want me to radio the mayor and get his opinion on this? I'll be in the cafeteria if you need me. As soon as Mrs. Vincent is gone, Sarah has a question for me. So this is about Jess? Sorry I had to hear that. Even more, I'm sorry that she's the one in charge of this place. It's okay, she's a proper tiger. She's a paper tiger. Nice way to put it. Now, why do you think I'm asking around about Jessica? The letters she's been sending to Julian Battail? That's not it, but you're going to have to tell me about that in a moment. Jessica's missing, Sarah. Oh no, is she? No, I checked the perimeter this morning. I was just trying to do a different voice, because, you know, it's very hard if they're all just posh accents at various timbers. So she gets a nasal voice and sounds like I'm talking through the back of my nose. No, I checked the perimeter this morning. Is that something you think Jessica would do? Has she ever talked about stepping beyond the towers? No, it's just when someone can't be found in Battail, that usually means they tried to leave. And Jess definitely wanted to leave. God, she hated this town. Fiddlesticks and flapdoodle. She did. I mean, we all hate this town right? But she hated it even before she was miserable. I kept telling her that she at least had Gary. Have you seen our high school class? I haven't. Do you have any idea how limited my options are and how bad they all are? Sometimes I look around our classroom and I want to walk between the towers. Oh, I'm sorry, Jess. To be fair, if it's said not in this voice, then I'm narrating. Because I do try and I do different voices for that reason. But I'm really sorry. Jessica's missing. I think all the boys at school would be a bit young for me anyway. Thank God, because I do not want any more competition. You just said... Never mind, that's not important. Where do you think Jess might be hiding? I don't know. What makes you think she's hiding somewhere? She ran away from home. She isn't on the perimeter. She must be somewhere in town. Maybe she found a way out. If she did, don't you think she'd tell you about it? Or she'd come back and let us all know? Hey, we had a Scottish guy at the very beginning. You must have just missed it, Dan. He was in it for all of about 3 seconds. Or, well, slightly Scottish. Miss Reynolds, our science teacher, said that you sent dogs out of the town and they made it past the towers. You thought that they might be able to tell us something about the outside world. She also said that none of them came back, even the old ones who've been here all their life. You'd think they'd be comfortable here, they wouldn't know any better. Of course they'd come back. They're trained animals, even they knew how lucky they were to escape once. Those weren't my experiments. The police tried it before they... Any reason you didn't join them? I'm sorry, that was rude. No, that's not why I'm here. You want to know more about Jess? Ask about the letters. I want to know about these letters. You said something about the letters she was sending to Julian Battail. You thought that might be why I'm here. Yeah, well, of course. At first I thought she was totally into him, into him. Which is gross, because sure he's rich, but he's almost like almost 30, and also she has a boyfriend. Leave some for the rest of us. That wasn't it, though. The letters were all about the train. The supply train. Jess would wait for it every week. She thought that if she could just see someone inside would mean that a person was leaving the town. There's no one on the train. I had the paper print a whole-page article about it. Yeah, after Danny Richards. Others would have tried, even if the towers claimed him. The train is automated. Do you know that for sure? Or did you just tell everyone that to prevent more Dannys? I know it. Have you asked the Battails about it? Because I bet they're the ones who know for sure. Their private guards are the ones who unload it every week. Send the food to the dollar store, medicine to the nurse's place, and... I watch the train too. Don't you think I know how the town is run? The train is automated. Fine, but Jess had other ideas. She tried to confront Julian about it at church, but he acted like he had no idea what she was talking about. You know he does, so have you asked him about it? I'm the one with the questions here. He doesn't talk to you either. If he doesn't get into trouble, he doesn't have to. Well, I figured he reported the threatening letter to you. Did I tell you they were threatening? Yeah, Jess didn't take too well to being ignored. Well, interesting to know. Maybe I'll finally have a reason to chat with him. Ask him about the train. For Jess. We'll see if it comes up. Damn it, Dan! What's Jessica and Gary's relationship like? They've been dating since freshman year. Broke up a few times along the way, but I bet that's never going to happen again. Once you get past me, his opinions aren't too hot either. Which means he's missing too, isn't he? Yes. Oh, I bet they're just hiding away from Jess's mum. She does not like him. And where do you think they might be doing that? I'm not going to knock on my friend, Sheriff. Listen, kid, if you know something about Jessica's whereabouts and don't tell me, you'll be in trouble. Harboring or helping a runaway is punishable by law. So what? We don't have lawyers or judges anymore. What do I care about the law? I still uphold the law and I'm the sheriff, so you should care about me. Fine. In that case, I have no idea where Jessica and Gary go out to make out. How about that? Is there anything else you want to know? So, were you Jessica's best friend? I guess so, but that's so corny, you know? We hung out a lot, less when she was with Gary, but that's fine. Sometimes I need time alone. If she's hiding somewhere, do you think she would contact you? Eventually, yeah. She'd get bored, and if she escaped? That's not possible. Yeah, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Even those dogs never came back. How do you think she'd contact you? Maybe by sending a letter? So I probably won't get it for another week. Postal service sucks now. That's because we only have one postman, and he was retired. But all that considered, Fred does a good job. He stood up where he was needed, like me. Maybe he picks up your letters and delivers them, but he spends most of his time drinking in his office. Can't remember the last time he delivered something here. I'll still check with him, see if he's anything intended for you. Any other questions? That's all I have for now. If Jess got out, you won't go bringing her back, will you? What do you mean? That would be so cruel. Look, Jessica didn't escape the tail. No one can. I'm going to find her, and you are both going to get in a lot of trouble if you're hiding anything from me. Yeah. Yeah, Leaky, it's very sus. I could be the postman. I have a game where I can be the postman. Next, I make my way to the house of Gary Reed's family. Vernon Reed, it's Sheriff Wright. Right, you have a few minutes to talk. Is this about Gary? I've been asking around all around town. No idea where the boy's gone to, if that's what you want to know. I surveyed the perimeter, didn't see him out there, if that makes you feel better. I knew you wouldn't do something that dumb, even if Jessica was trying to talk him into it. He saw what happened to the police force. He was down there when they tried to blow up that tower. After that, any thoughts of leaving just slipped right out of his mind. And Jessica? You think she was trying to talk him into something? That girl always had ideas. You know she was obsessed with that train. Are you going to hydrate me every 15 bloody minutes, Leaky? Every half an hour on the dot, it seems. Trying to read a story. Oh, I didn't want to do that. That made a horrible noise. That girl always had ideas. You know she was obsessed with that train. Oh, you know that us no way out of town. Danny found the out the hard way. You don't seem very worried about Gary. Like you said, you don't see him out on the perimeter. He'll turn up eventually. There's nothing new for him, really. He runs away a lot. Ever since his mum left. Just a couple of months before those towers went up. So she wasn't in Battail when the contingency happened. No, she's the lucky one. Maybe I am. Who the hell knows what's happening out there? Probably nothing. See, I got a question for you, actually. When did we start calling it the contingency? I actually don't know. And what does it mean? Who started it? That's a really good question. It's like we all just woke up one day and had that name for it. But where did it come from? Who started it? I think I heard the mayor say it. I don't really have any better answer for you. That's just strange, that's all. Seems like more of a mystery than when my boy ran off to. Mr. Reed, I get that you're not concerned, but Jessica's mother is, so I'd really like some help in figuring this out. Did you try my granddad's cabin? No, where's that? Not far from the smelter. Still in the perimeter, of course. Not much to do out there, though, since you can't go much into the woods from there. I kinda let the place fall apart. Turned out to be okay. But the kid knows about it, and he stood out there to drink beer a couple of times. Thanks, I'll check around there. Good, but, be careful in that cabin. What do you mean? Is it falling apart literally? No, it's very close to the perimeter itself. There's a tower looming just an acre away from the place. I see. I'll keep that in mind. Good. You have a good day now. I was thinking it a bit more Geordie than Scottish that time, Dan. When I returned to the office, I'm surprised to see two new visitors, a man and a woman. They're both clean-cut, good-looking, and elegantly dressed. The woman glances at me, her gaze fierce enough to swallow me whole. Then she returns her attention to her previous companion. August. Yes, she seems to be deep in conversation with August, and as she speaks to him, the same cold eyes that swept over me become warm and glistening. She smiles and twirls her hair on one finger.
Sheriff Wright?
Okay, hello, Julian. The gentleman strides towards
My name is
me.
Julian Battail. I'm here with my sister Charlotte. It's a pleasure to meet you.
They're totally the vampires. The tales of vampires. I'm calling it now. Even though he says it's a pleasure, he sounds rather bored. I offer my hand. Back on Tweed? Not recently, no. Special Agent, sorry. Sheriff Erica Wright. As he shakes my hand, I feel warmth spread from his touch. I can't explain it, but it's almost electrifying. Against my wishes, I can feel myself blushing. The, pleasure's all mine.
Yes, good. Well, I'm sorry to barge in like this, but after we heard what happened to Jessica, we were very worried.
Look at the things! Nearby, his sister Charlotte bursts into laughter. Can it really be? She and August are leaning close to each other, their faces flushed, and they're both laughing. Julian clears his
We
throat.
realize you're a bit short-staffed around here. You're also operating on a low budget, so we'd like to offer our assistance.
Assistance? Achievement!
Yes, we can provide funds for any equipment you might need.
Funds won't accomplish much these days. Most people just want to trade. I suspect it won't be long before we have to make a new form of currency around
A
here.
fair point. Although I wouldn't dismiss the power of dollars just yet, Sheriff. In any case, we can provide the equipment itself. Acquiring it might just take a little longer than money.
Okay, have a good walk and enjoy yourself, Milo. Hopefully it's a little cooler out there for you. I appreciate that, but
Why are we helping out? Well, it's rare that someone goes missing around here,
They
and I'm
totally
sure you want
hate
to
her.
find her as soon as possible.
no, I was going to ask if you had the means. Why didn't you offer the police like this sooner?
Well, this seemed like a special situation. Besides, after the last sheriff behaved so Foolishly, I suppose I needed time to judge your character.
Oh, and what have you judged?
Please, Sheriff Wright. I feel like you and I are getting off on the wrong foot.
His expression shifts to something much warmer, but also slightly wolfish. He reaches out slowly and puts a hand on my shoulder. His finger brushes my neck slightly. I didn't think I wanted him to touch me, but once he does, I feel myself grow weak at the knees.
We just want to help.
I find it hard to avert my eyes from his. I feel like I could get lost in them. They feel hot and cold at the same time, like moving close to a fire, while a blizzard swirls around me. No, this is just stupid hormones talking. Maybe August was right. I've been alone for too long. I blink rapidly, shrug off his hand, and try to regain my senses. You keep saying we. Do you mean the whole Battail family? How many of you live up at that big mansion of yours?
Well, there are only 3 members of our family here in town, but I primarily refer to Charlotte and myself as we make most of the executive decisions.
Executive decisions about what? The lead mines closed a long time ago. What exactly do you, do?
Yes, well, we still have estates to maintain.
There is so much I want to know about the Battails. I don't even know where to start, but I doubt Julian will endure many questions. Ask about the towers or ask about the train? Ask about the towers or ask about the train? Ask about the towers or ask about the train? They unload the train. I feel like they know about both things, but they know they unload the train. And they can acquire things. Towers just kill people. I'm gonna ask about the train. Can you tell me about the train that brings supplies to Battail?
What about it?
It's the only vehicle capable of leaving the town and returning. Why is that?
I don't know.
But don't you oversee its operation?
I protect the train. I ensure a riot doesn't break out every time it arrives. What does this have to do with your missing persons?
Jessica was trying to learn more about the train. I believe she sent you letters about it.
Did she? I don't think I received them.
Maybe the postman didn't deliver them.
Listen, I can sympathize with your curiosity, but I don't have the answers you're looking for. Please focus on the matter at hand. Meanwhile, your new assistant will join you tomorrow.
My new assistant? My new assistant?
Oh, did I forget to mention? Yes, we're also sending someone to help you with your investigation. Her name is Madeline Gray. I think you'll like her. Very smart, excellent combat training.
What about field experience?
Well, most people with that qualification are no longer available, as you may recall. Won't it be nice to have some backup?
Sorry, I've just realised it might be echoing. I appreciate that, but I'd rather choose my own assistant.
We saved you the trouble. You have more important matters to worry about than interviews. And we refuse to take no for an answer.
His smile feels pretty threatening. Or maybe he just has exceptionally sharp teeth. Another ridiculous laugh splits the air as Charlotte finally breaks away from August, shaking her thick coils around her shoulders.
Lucius Christ, that man is a riot. Why on earth do you leave a brain like that to rot in a cell, Erica?
It's, Sheriff, and he murdered 7 people.
Allegedly. He tells me he's an innocent man, never even convicted.
Only because he never had a chance to go to trial.
Well, even if that's true, that was before the contingency. Now we're all imprisoned for life. Isn't that right, Julian?
I suppose?
The world has changed. Humanity has changed. He deserves to start fresh.
He carved people's hearts out of their bodies.
Really?
She glances back at August with some surprise. He shrugs, and somehow this makes her laugh again.
You're going to set him free, Erica, and you'll do it now.
First, I think she's joking. And then she stops laughing and continues to stare at me pointedly.
I said now, please.
I just stare back at her in shock.
She probably needs to file some paperwork or something.
Shut your pretty mouth, Julian.
Her eyes still haven't left mine.
Do I need to repeat myself a third time?
I don't follow your orders, Miss Patel. Only the mayor has the authority to make that command.
Is that so?
She leans closer to me. The little hairs all over my body pull at my skin like they're trying to escape. Julian reaches out and puts a hand on Charlotte's shoulder. His manner is soft, tender.
No need for that, Charlotte.
The fire dims from Charlotte's eyes. She draws back. I take a deep breath, realize I've been holding it. My hand moves away from my gun.
Fine. I'll talk to the mayor. Maddie will bring you the paperwork first thing tomorrow morning.
Maddie?
Madeline Gray.
Thank you for all your hard work, Erica. Sheriff, best of luck to you.
With a strange look on her face, she saunters from the building. June's expression is less sinister, but I still wouldn't describe it as warm.
It's a shame we don't see you more often, Sheriff Wright. May I call you Erica?
I suppose, since you asked.
Good. I'd like to get to know you better anyway.
He draws close again. Stop seducing me!
Perhaps you could come to the church sometime. A lot of good townsfolk attend the church. You might be able to glean some useful information. My family almost always attends. You could meet our brother Liam.
I'll consider
I'm
it.
glad to hear that.
He's so close now, it's almost like he's teasing a kiss, but my mood is far from romantic right now. I stare at his jacket to avoid those swelling eyes of his, and then I notice a small dark stain. I seize this discovery as a means of disruption. You spilled something on your jacket. He moves back quickly, looks down and flinches.
Fuck!
He scrubs at it like he's trying to fling a hot coal from his skin, but it doesn't budge. I resist the urge to laugh. Looks like a deep stain.
I guess I was clumsy with my lunch today. It was, spaghetti sauce.
Vampire. 100% vampire. It's blood. You should use a napkin next time.
Have a good night, Sheriff Wright.
As he leaves, I enjoy a feeling of smug satisfaction. And I remember everything else. They want to set August free. I'm scared to look at him right now, but what choice do I have? Sure enough, he's leaning on the wall of his cell, smiling like a cat who just ate a mouse.
Interesting pair, those two. I think they're lovers.
He's talking again. They're brother and sister.
Some people get off on taboos.
I'm sure you know. Steeling myself, I walk slowly to his cell. I rest my hand on my gun quite pointedly. What did you say to her?
Nothing of consequence. I simply have a way with women when inspiration strikes.
They really managed to let you
They
out. And you much as lay a hair on the wrong side of the law.
I very much look forward to seeing what you'll do. In the meantime, I'd like to get some sleep, if you don't mind. I'm exhausted. I didn't sleep at all last night, remember? And who knows where I'll be sleeping tomorrow. This cell has its issues, but at least there's peace and quiet.
Feeling sick to my stomach, I'm suddenly eager to go home myself. Though I doubt I'll get any sleep.
Oh, and Sheriff?
What?
That stain on his jacket was definitely blood.
I know.
Oh, welcome home, Erica.
Who's Stacy? Hi, Stacy.
I reckon you had an awful day. I heard about Jessica and Gary. People at the dollar store wouldn't stop talking about it.
There have been quite a few posters for Arcadia in the background. It's making me think of Life is Strange. Really? That's good. The more people know, the sooner we'll find something. Did you hear any theories as to where they might be?
Well, now, I tried to pay attention for you. I really did. But most people prattled on about Jessica and Gary enraging the good Lord or some such. With their lustfulness, I guess. I don't agree with them either. Why would God ever punish two people for loving each other? I mean, as long as it's still natural and all. Man and woman.
Okay. Great, I have a homophobic flatmate. Stacey's comment bothers me, but I'm not sure how to reply. What's natural? Why would any love deserve punishment? Do I smell steak?
You sure do. Ross butchered one of his cows just a couple days ago. I got a piece just for you. I figured you might need it on a day like this.
I told you don't have to cook for me, Stacey. But I really appreciate it.
It's no trouble, Erica. You deserve all the help you can get at a job like yours. You just wait right here, and I'll go get you a plate.
I don't have the strength to argue, so I gratefully obey. Soon enough. Hair in my mouth. She returns with a delicious hunk of meat with a side of beans and bread. You're a godsend, Stacey.
Well, God sends us everything, I figure.
Without further ado, I dive into my food. Then it hits me. A memory, clear as crystal, flashing in my eyes like the past seeping into the present. I hear a clatter. I must have dropped my fork onto the table.
Erica? Erica, you alright?
I take a moment to close my eyes and steady my breath. I'm not alright. When I open my eyes again, my vision ripples with moisture. I'll be fine. I'm just a little out of sorts today.
Can I get you anything? Maybe an aspirin? Or maybe a...
No, Stacey, you've done enough. Thank you. I force another breath. I feel my muscles trembling. Today was my father's birthday.
Oh.
He used to cook me steak sometimes. Said it was good for the blood, whatever that's supposed to mean.
I'm so sorry. If I had known...
Please don't apologize. You've done so much for me. I'm very grateful.
You said your father was a military man? Isn't that right?
Yes.
Tell me about him.
Not that I'm going to, go back. His name was Barry. People would describe him as being tough as nails. He got hit by a truck once, then he stood back up and said his only wound was a stubbed
My
toe.
word.
I used to think his heart was as tough as his body. I thought nothing could put a scratch on it. But one day my mother showed up, completely without warning.
Your mother? Were they divorced?
My mother left us when I was 4. She told us she hated moving all the time for Dad's work, but I think what she really hated was me.
No mother hates her child.
Some mothers killed their children, Stacey.
Oh, that right there is the work of the devil.
Anyway, I didn't see her for most of my life. Then on my 14th birthday, she showed up to give me a present. Told me she missed me and thought of me every day. The whole time she visited, Dad had a blank expression on his face. He hardly spoke a word. Meanwhile, I was so confused. I felt dizzy. One moment I wanted to jump and laugh for joy. The next I wanted to cry. I thought I must be weak or crazy. That night I heard something strange in the distance. I found Dad in the kitchen crying and drinking whiskey. When I walked in, we both froze for a minute. Then he motioned me over. He hugged me and we both cried. Somehow in that moment I was incredibly happy and sad all at once. Does that sound possible to you?
That sounds very possible to me, Erica.
I miss him so much.
Well, I bet he's still out there, putting up a fight against those demons.
Demons?
The demons devouring the rest of the world. The ones we're protected from in here.
Do you really believe that, Stacey?
Well, I don't know if I believe it in the literal sense. I don't know if there are monsters prowling around with wings and horns and such. Then again, folks have seen some strange things since the contingency. Silhouettes of monsters roaming beyond the towers. Who's to say what form they've taken? I do believe the devil has taken the earth. That big storm marked his arrival. And those of us here in Battail are some of the few people saved by God's grace. Zachary was saved for a time. Then God decided it was time for him to move on. So he led my brother through the gates. I know you're not a believer, Erica, but doesn't that thought give you comfort? Don't you think that maybe God saved us?
Well, we're not going to be a complete asswipe. I don't know how else to explain it. Maybe you're onto something.
You just saying that to be polite?
Yes?
I hope you'll keep thinking on it, one way or another. I should let you finish your meal in peace. You let me know if you need anything, alright?
I will. Thank you, Stacy. So when do I get voices? Like, now I'm in chapter 2. Like, part of the... You know, it's like when I was talking to August in the beginning of this chapter who didn't have a voice. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick tea break. Because Nikki keeps making me drink tea, which is good, but I'm running out. So I need some more tea, and it's an hour and a half into the stream. So we're going to have a quick tea break, run an ad, and I'll be back in 3-ish minutes. in a bag. I have tea, which is hot. So don't make me hydrate yet. I hydrated before. I wanted to stay there, Jessica said, pressing her head into the pillow. I wish I never had to leave. Wasn't it loud? Wasn't it busy? That's what made it so great. I'd get lost there. I wouldn't be noticed there. I could just go about my business and... And what? Live, Jessica said, without fear that it had to mean something. You do mean something. That's not what I'm saying. I'm serious, Jess. You mean something. Jessica is quiet. My heart pounds in my chest as I wait for her to respond. Thanks, Sarah. That's all she says. It's not what I wanted to hear. But I'll take it. Ooh, intrigue. I wonder if there was a romance there. Ow. As I unlock the door to the police station, a young woman hurriedly approaches me.
Sheriff Wright? Hey, Sheriff Wright!
I'm right here. You don't need to yell.
I'm Maddie Gray. Charlotte Patel sent me. I think I'm supposed to be your deputy.
I don't need a deputy.
I hear 2 people have gone missing. That's not good.
They haven't gone anywhere. They're somewhere in town. I got a tip last night, and I'm probably going to find them before noon.
You could still use some help, right? You've been doing this alone for months, and it has to get tiring.
What are your qualifications?
I don't really know.
Have you worked in law enforcement before? Security?
Not really.
And you're clearly a blood donor? But you work for the Patels, right?
I used to, before the, contingency. Haven't had much to do since then. I guess that's why they suggested me for the job.
And what did you do for them?
I handled public relations for 3 resorts up in the Lake of the Ozarks.
So you did PR, and now you think you can be a sheriff's deputy?
I already accepted the job for Mayor Ward.
Great. Fantastic.
Look, Sheriff, when I was little, I wanted to be a cop, and...
That's your qualification?
No. It's just, I'm willing to do whatever I have to do to be useful. Even if all I'm doing is filing paperwork and making coffee.
How are you at eggs?
Eggs?
Well, I do have a prisoner to feed, and I'm also pretty hungry myself. I mean, that's totally what they'd do if it was a man, Leaky. I guess we can start you there.
Hey, boss.
Oh, now she doesn't have a voice. About that prisoner, the mayor also wanted me to give you this. Please tell me what's inside this envelope isn't what I think it is. I don't know what's inside. He just said it was about August Flynn. Sorry, I'm butchering an American accent now because it's not voicing the thing. Bleep.
Hello there.
I think I just heard my name. And you're already awake. This day keeps on getting better and better.
What?
What's going on? Charlotte Patel told me she wanted August released. Why exactly does she have the mayor wrapped around her finger?
Huh?
So he was pardoned?
You have me all wrong.
I don't need to be pardoned of anything. I was never actually convicted, and this whole jail routine has been a very inconvenient violation of my rights. Go tell it to the Supreme Court. You're just trying to get me to blow my own head off. Once again, you stand me with your powers of intuition.
Wait, what?
Are you really going to let him go? Didn't he kill 7 people?
Well...
Allegedly killed 7 people. I don't really have a choice. If I'm going to pretend there's any kind of law here in Patel, I at least have to follow the mayor's orders. But we're going to be keeping a close eye on him. Oui? You're my deputy, right? Hope you're ready for a lot of August stakeout duty. This is what you wanted, isn't it? There isn't a lot of crime in this town, but there is precisely one serial murderer, so he's going to be something of a focus.
Whatever you say.
Be honest, Sheriff. The only reason you're going to follow me around is that you're going to miss me. Believe me, August, the second you step out of line and I get a chance to take a shot, I will not miss you. You've used that barb before 2 weeks ago. You're getting lazy. How about I just make us all some breakfast? Is that okay? There's a stove in the next room down the hall. Eggs and bacon are in the fridge.
Will do.
She hurries off as if she doesn't want to be in the same room when August is freed from his cell. I'm not so afraid. I've spent the last few months with him. There's very little he can do to surprise me. It's not my safety I'm worried about, it's the town's safety. I grab the keys to the cell from my desk and approach him. Your new deputy is cute. You think? Not really, but you do. Stop with the games, August.
Try spinning in a circle.
No games, I can tell. You're lonely and it's going to get even worse when I'm not here. And it's a good thing I like being alone. No, you don't. But I suppose we'll just have to agree to disagree. Are you going to open that door? Are you going to kill anyone after I do?
Well,
I can't predict the future, Sheriff. But I can tell you that I have no intention of killing anyone. Is that good enough for you? No, but it's not my decision. Reluctantly, I unlock the door and let it swing open. I halfway expect him to lunge at me or attack me, but instead he merely saunters out.
marvelous.
Now, did I hear the two of you say something about breakfast? I'm not obligated to feed you anymore, or house you for that matter. Good luck finding a place to stay.
Huh?
So I can't just move into one of the many houses that are completely abandoned because their owners tried to leave the town? No, you don't. You don't own them.
Is that so?
What does that matter? Who is going to evict me? Come to think of it, why did you move in with your roommate? Why didn't you just take the house of the police chief? Because that's how things are. But as I'm standing here thinking about it, I'd much rather know exactly where you are. So I'm going to call an audible.
What?
An audible. It's a football reference. I take it back. Today's not so bad. I got to see you confused by a word you don't know.
Oh, spare me.
I'm so glad that your poor communication skills can amuse you. I'm going to change my mind. I don't want you just wandering the town without a place to go. There's an empty house across from the dollar store. It was Danny Richards' place. The man who took the train. The same one.
Can you imagine?
If his body had landed differently across the tracks in some way that could have disturbed the next shipment, he could have starved us all to death. That didn't happen, and his apartment is unoccupied. The door is unlocked. The fridge is probably a nightmare, though. I'm sure I've seen worse. I know you have.
Sheriff?
No, thank you, Sheriff. No, if you don't mind, I'm going to enjoy my freedom. You aren't free, August. You're out of that cell, but you're still trapped in Battail. You and me both. Remember that if you ever need a friend to talk to. A friend?
My friend.
Well, we're no longer professional acquaintances. What else would we be? I don't know.
I
Enemies?
believe.
Life is too short to have enemies, Sheriff. Also, all the items I seized from you during your arrest and which were with you in the van are in the evidence room. Thank you. August smiles at me and heads into the evidence room just as Maddie returns. Okay, so I burnt the eggs and I may have undercooked the bacon, but I don't like it too crispy, so where's August? I told him that I'm done feeding him. He's getting his stuff, though maybe you should make him test this food for us before he goes.
Sounds bad.
I can't believe that I already screwed up. It's okay. I always undercooked the eggs and burnt the bacon. For the first time I noticed a bandage around her arm with a small blood stain. Did you hurt yourself already?
It's just...
No, that's from yesterday. Just a minor accident when I was trimming some bushes. Why doesn't that make me feel any better?
Look.
How are we going to find Jessica and Gary? I can't do her accent. It's bugging me now. We are not going to do anything. I'm going to go to Gary's grandfather's cabin. Then I'm going to drag those kids down here and lock them up for a few hours to teach a lesson. You're going to be cleaning that jail cell just in case August left anything unpleasant for us in there.
This is crazy!
Wait, away. I don't get to go with you, but I'm your deputy. You're my assistant. What if you need to arrest them both? Have you ever arrested someone? No. Have you ever fought someone?
I've got this!
I'm a brown belt in karate. I mean, have you actually fought someone in a threatening situation? Well, senior year of high school, I broke Donna Birch's nose. I don't know who Donna Birch is. Is that impressive? She's got a good 5 inches on me. Did she deserve it?
Whatever.
She called me a few names I didn't want to hear. And did you deserve the names? They weren't wrong, but they were cruel. Clean out August's cell like I asked. When you're finished, you can meet me at the cabin. Not go together, I'm much faster. Don't want you touching anything until I've scoped out the place for myself. Why not? I showered this morning. It's not about that, it's about preserving evidence. I thought Jessica and Gary were going to be there. Why would you need evidence after that? Please stop asking these questions so I don't regret
do.
this. Definitely don't call me boss. Call me Erica. Are you going to have any food? I might stop at the diner on the way to the cabin. August emerges from the evidence room carrying a duffel bag.
Sheriff?
See me off, Sheriff? This half-voiced thing is driving me nuts. August strides out of the precinct with a ridiculous grin on his face. The day is grim and humid, but August spreads open his arms, looks to the sky, and heaves a deep breath like a man surfacing from water. Until now, I have been living in a cave, watching shadows. Now I'll finally gaze upon the forms that cast them. Plato's cave? So you have been paying attention. I don't need a philosophy teacher to know about Plato's cave, August. I went to college.
I suppose.
He turns and steps towards me suddenly. My hand moves to my gun.
What a shame.
What's wrong? You don't want to hug me goodbye? You should just go, August, and remember my warnings about breaking the law. What law? The same law that imprisoned me for life? I think you're still confused, Sheriff Wright. That law and order don't exist anymore. In truth, you could shoot me right here, right now, and who would punish you for it? You're the sheriff. The mayor clearly doesn't give a shit.
Do go on.
You're tempted, aren't you? You believe I'm the heartbreaker. You believe I'm going to waltz out there and pluck someone's vascular organ from their ribcage. So why not put a bullet between my eyes? The old law and order is the only reason I'm letting you go. Anyway, it'd be wrong.
But...
Wrong? Why? Okay, I'm gonna go with because you saved my life. On the night of the contingency, I almost stepped past the powers. Past the towers. You pulled me back. If not for you, I'd be dead right now. I knew that little stunt would come in handy. Still, I hope that's not the only reason. That wouldn't be very interesting. I'm not sure when I let my guard down. If I ever did, I thought I was ready, but his arms closed suddenly around me, locking my own arms in place so I could no longer draw my weapon. I feel his fingers on my neck, brushing it softly. Then his breath tickles my ear.
Got you.
My heart races. I force myself to think through my panic and rage. I can still get out of this. His stance is very secure, almost like he's had practice doing something like this. I guess I should have expected that. I might be able to knock him over if I just... No need to fight, Erica. Don't ruin the mood. Can I knee him in the balls? Please. If I wanted to kill you, I would have done it already. I'm about to make my move, shifting my weight to knock him over, when he lets go of me and steps back, arms up in surrender. See? All finished, no harm done. You son of a bitch.
Was that so bad?
Am I really so terrible for wanting to hug you goodbye? I'm still too ruffled to think of a good response. My pulse pounds in my eardrums. Why?
Well...
You kept imagining I would do something like that, didn't you? I decided to oblige. Now you don't have to keep wondering what will happen when I get the drop on you. I already did. And that wasn't so bad now, was it? He grins at me and waggles his fingers. Until next time, Sheriff Wright. Maybe a careful vampire, a helpful vampire will eat him. As I approach the Reed's old cabin, I feel like I'm walking straight towards a tower in the woods. Vernon wasn't exaggerating when he said the cabin was close to the perimeter. Then I notice a sedan parked on the side of the road. My heart leaps. It matches the description of Jessica's car. The car is unlocked. I don't see much inside except a backpack. The backpack has some folders and papers with Jessica's name on them. I see a planner with notes about assignments due next week. Everything here strikes me as normal. The backpack suggests Jessica planned to attend school the next day as always, but that's still just speculation. I'll re-examine the contents of the backpack later. For now, I'm more interested with what's in the cabin. The cabin itself is a shed transformed into a residence. Overall, the building is neglected, as Vernon Reed suggested. Nature has crept in through the walls, the appliances are stained and mouldy. Unfortunately, no one is here. If Jessica and Gary had been hiding out, something spooked them and they fled. The trail hasn't gone cold though, someone has been here recently. I see empty beer cans strewn about the floor, I see a mattress and disheveled blankets in the corner. Those items aren't dusty or covered with cobwebs like everything else in the cabin. I also see a small pile of books near the bed. Glancing over them, they seem to be reference books about supernatural and mythical creatures. There's a kettle on a table. No sing. It's always weird what things are in this. I want to look at the pictures. Tomato, the hammer, watering can, random stuff. Okay. The books all seem to be reference books about supernatural and mythical creatures. I put on a glove before picking up one of the books. It's titled History of Vampires. I flip through the pages and find them littered with notes. I pause in a section. Hey, Dama! Hi! How are you doing? Thank you so much for the raid. Come in, everyone. Hi, I'm Joe. Hi, Redhead. Dama raid. I am Joe, and today we're playing Crimson Spires, which is, oh, so close to the Golden Berry. Well, better luck next time, but I'm sure you've got this. Thank you so much for the raid, though. Kalame! Yes, a raid has occurred. Welcome in. So today I'm playing Crimson Spires, which is an indie game by Woody Studio? Sorry, I'm bad with names. Woodsy Studio and East Asia Soft. And we're an FBI agent. We arrived in a town chasing an escaped serial killer, and suddenly giant towers shot up from the earth and surrounded the town. 6 months later, we're the sheriff, and I'm fairly certain we're just about to discover there's vampires. And there's 2 missing kids. Oh, and we just let out the serial killer because the vampire made the mayor do it. So it's all quite confusing, but also very intriguing. So let's see what happens next. I pause on a section that's heavily underlined. If a vampire acclimatizes wholly to human life, such as consuming human food and abstaining from blood, they are almost indistinguishable from their human prey. They have nothing to fear from sunlight or garlic. Unfortunately, it is difficult for vampires to maintain this state for long. Eventually, they must drink human blood to prevent the decay of their bodies. Once the vampire inevitably feeds on living blood, he will regain power in the form of superhuman strength, sense, and abilities, but he will simultaneously grow vulnerable to sunlight, garlic, and silver. Okay, I jump with surprise and draw my gun. The book falls from my hands with a thud. My heart hammers. Why do I feel so anxious? Did I actually let that nonsense about vampires get into my head? I think the sound came from the attic. I point my gun up the ladder. Who's there? Jessica? Gary? This is Sheriff Erica Wright. Show yourselves now. Hello?
Erica?
It's me, Maddie. Maddie? Sure enough, I recognize her voice and then her face as she peers over the top of the ladder. I guess I beat your hair. What are you doing here? I told you to meet me here after you finished cleaning the cell. I cleaned it, and I biked here as fast as I could. I guess it was even faster than I thought. I actually thought you'd already come and left when I didn't see anyone. That's ridiculous. I only just arrived, and I told you not to touch anything.
I don't understand.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disobey you, but there's no harm done. I already found something interesting. What? How? My head is still spinning. I don't truly understand how Mandy got here so fast. Is she lying to me? In any case, I'm not sure what to do about it now, so I might as well follow her up to the attic. I don't know what these photos are. Once I top the ladder, I shake off my gloves, but to my surprise, there isn't much dirt on them. The ladder was quite clean. A quick visual scan of the attic informs me that it's filled with old junk, random farm tools, boxes, and fabric. But the junk is pushed off to the corners, leaving a decent amount of open flooring. In fact, what shocks me most about the attic is that it's incredibly clean compared to the rest of the cabin. I don't see thick layers of dust or cobwebs like I saw below. The floor is almost shiny as if recently mopped, and I run my hand along a chair and again find the tip of my glove clean. Take my gloves off in irritation. They don't serve any purpose if the place has already been wiped down. I notice that Maddie's watching me with a strange look on her face. Guilt? I also notice a dirty rag and a cleaning spray nearby. The smell of it is still fresh in the air. Maddie, was the attic this clean when you got here? Not exactly. Did you clean it? Well, yes, a little bit. Hell! Maddie flinches with surprise at my outburst, but tries to recover quickly.
Sorry.
I understand why you're angry. You must think I'm a fool, but this is just a misunderstanding. I thought you already come here and... What else did you touch? Much, I swear to God, Sheriff, there's only I cleaned, and the ladder. I'm very, very sorry. I wanted to look around in this junk for clues, and the dust really irritated my nose. Please, just leave.
This is crazy!
Hear me out. This isn't entirely my fault. It could be some sort of time slippage. Did you say time slippage? Yes, I've heard it can happen in the towers. Time doesn't seem to flow the same way as other places. Maybe that's why I got to the cabin so much faster than you. Do you have any idea how ridiculous you sound? I'm so mad at this girl. I feel like throwing her down the attic door, but the look in her eyes gives me pause. She's quite serious. How long ago did you leave the precinct? Well, about 45 minutes ago.
Look.
For me, that was almost 2 hours ago. We're experiencing a time anomaly. I told you that's ridiculous. Drop it.
Whatever.
Fine. We'll compare them back again at the precinct. You'll see, I've heard of all sorts of strange occurrences near the towers. Those strange occurrences are all bullshit. They result from overactive imaginations in a stressful situation. Our job is to investigate facts. No, let me rephrase it. It's my job to investigate facts. I doubt you'll have a job at all once I inform the details of your failure.
What?
My failure? Her face seems to lose several shades of colour.
It's just...
Oh, don't complain to the Batias about me. I want to do a good job. I don't wish to displease them or you. I'm so sorry I cleaned the attic. You're right, it was foolish no matter what the circumstances, and it won't happen again. I'll make it right. I'll do my best. Please, let me make it up to you. I'm disturbed by her desperation. Why does she want to please the Batials so badly? Does she respect them? Perhaps fear them? I'll have to ask her more about it later.
I got this.
I did find something that'll make you very happy. It's a significant clue. You found this while cleaning? Yeah, I told you I was looking for clues. You were destroying clues, but this is interesting, right? Take the piece of paper from Maddie and examine it carefully. It's folded into thirds. Clearly it was stuffed in an envelope at some point, though I have a sneaking suspicion Maddie might have accidentally thrown that envelope. That's an invitation to leave the town. I can read it on my... What did you say? Like you said, you can read it on your own. Try to ignore Maddie's sarcasm and turn my attention to the letter. It's only a few lines, but reading it made me suddenly feel hollow. Dear Miss Murdoch, I am pleased to inform you that your efforts have been deemed sufficient for the Tail Repatriation Society. Please report to a location near one of the contingency towers to proceed with the final stage of trials required to safely leave Bataille. Remember, you are permitted to bring one, but only one person along with you. Please choose wisely. If you inform anyone other than your chosen guest of this opportunity, it will be promptly rescinded and you will not receive any further communication from the Society. We look forward to our next meeting and your eventual release. Best, the Bataille Repatriation Society. What the hell is going on here, Maddie? I'm as clueless as you. Where did this letter come from? Where's the envelope? What is the return address? Was it mailed or was it hand-delivered?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Why should I know any of this? This letter is a fake, right? What are you seeing? There's no Bataille Repatriation Society. There's no trials permitting people to leave. Why are you so angry at me? Because you cleaned this attic, Maddie. Because you cleared out an entire room of evidence and picked this up with your bare hands and placed it in my bare hands, and now we'll never know who planted it.
Wait.
Was there even a way to compare fingerprints? Any database of that information would have been at the county, and I could still gather new fingerprints, perhaps from suspects. Anyway, that's not the point. Tell me, did you really come here and suddenly think you needed to clean up? Or was that your job all
I
along?
don't understand.
Is there something in that letter that makes you angry? Yes, Maddie, yes, I'm angry because someone is playing a game with me. I hope it isn't you. I hope it's Jessica or the Patel family. But whatever this letter is, it's not a clue. It's a red herring, planted by you or someone else to hide what really happened to Jessica Murdoch and Gary Reed. How do you know? What if she already found a way out? She didn't. Either someone scammed her or someone is scamming me, and whoever it is, they're not going to get away with it.
What now?
I don't know, but I'm not going to discuss it with you. I'm your deputy. Yes, maybe, once I've figured out whether you're a part of this.
This town.
Look, whatever is going on, if someone's faking away at Bataille, they probably aren't letting their victims live. You think? Yeah, of course. In PR, the worst thing you can do is run up against the person who can reliably testify that what you're offering is false.
Sounds bad.
So whoever wrote this letter, if it's fake, might be a murderer. If you're up against a murder, you're going to need help. I know, but until I know you're not involved, I don't need your help.
What do you think?
Well then who? I feel a lump in my throat. I can't even believe the idea that's forming in my head, but I also can't get rid of it. If Maddie is compromised, if she is hiding something, then surely it's because of the Patel family. And I'm sure she's not alone. The Patel family clearly has control over the mayor. Their private security handles picking up the train shipments and delivering them to local businesses. Everyone here is susceptible to their influence. Everyone but one horrible person. So who? Who can help you deal with a murder if not me? Another murderer. Oh. Is it all there? I'm going to brush for fingerprints. Why don't you head back to the station?
I can't help!
Oh really? Are you sure I can help you with the brushing? Normally it would be nice to have another pair of hands to help me handle the fingerprint powder, but what if she tries to sabotage any evidence I give her? Actually, it would take me quite a while to collect fingerprints, and it would help me a lot if you man the precinct desk in the meantime. What if someone calls in with news of Jessica or Gary and one of us isn't there? I guess you're right. She looks around uncertainly, then she sways and clutches her head. Maddie, are you alright? I think so. Oh, I think it's D-Lurk, Dan. Sorry, I needed to fix that. My head feels fuzzy or something. It must be this cabin. All the more reason for you to head back to the station. Fine, I will. She starts to leave, then pauses to give me a parting glance. Good luck, Erika. If you say so. I complete the tedious work of gathering fingerprints around the cabin, but I don't feel very hopeful. As I suspected, I can't gather any fingerprints at all from the attic, ladder or doorway. Those have been wiped clean. It seems that Maddie and perhaps the Patels want to disrupt my investigation, and if that's true, I'm not sure how to proceed. My only option might be to turn to an unlikely source of intellect for help. Right, I just need a minute. I'll be right back. Vampires. That's the only clue we have. Oh, and a letter we just found that is like, you've figured out how to leave and we're going to give you some tests. So, someone's playing games. We don't really know enough yet, though. My spirits are already low when I return to the precinct. They're not aided by the fact that Mrs. Murdoch is waiting for me there.
Hey, boss.
I'm sorry, I told her we'd nothing to report, but she insisted on waiting for you. I told you not to call me boss. You did, right. Looking confused, Maddie turns and wanders back to the desk. Sheriff Wright, I hear you were investigating the old Reed cabin near the border. Yes, it seems that Jessica and Gary stayed there before they disappeared. A vehicle matching the description of Jessica's car is parked outside the cabin. Lucius, have mercy. Mrs. Murdoch clutches her hands together and prays swiftly. So where do you think they are now? I have a deputy who may or may not be a plant. She's very sus. I'm sorry, Mrs. Murdoch. I still don't know your daughter's whereabouts. I've gathered some more evidence to examine. I'll certainly let you know if I find something concrete. But I don't understand. You've been looking for 2 days already. If they're trapped somewhere, they could be starving to death. I'm doing everything I can, Mrs. Murdoch. You said it would be easy to find them in a town this small. You said there was nothing to worry about. You said... I'm very sorry, Mrs. Murdoch, but I have nothing more to tell you at this time. If you please let me get back to work, I'll continue doing whatever I can to locate Jessica and Gary. I understand. I'll pray for you. Trembling and clutching her hands, she finally leaves. Meanwhile, Maddie continues to sit at the desk, clutching her head and looking into space. Maddie, would you scrounge up some lunch for me? Lunch? I think you mean dinner. No, I mean lunch. I checked my watch. A late lunch, I admit, but it's only 1:30.
Not so sure.
No, it's 5:15. She points to the clock on the wall. I'm shocked to discover that she's correct. That can't be right. My watch matched this clock before I left this morning. I told you that people experience time slippage near the towers. That's ridiculous. Pull off my watch and throw it in a desk drawer. I need a new watch battery. That's all there is to it. Now will you get me some food?
Fine.
Sure thing, Erica. She turns to the kitchen, then pauses again. Are you sure I can't help you with the fingerprints you collected? Done more than enough to help already, Maddie. I think you should stick to answering the phone, cleaning and cooking from here on out.
I'm so sorry.
She doesn't look leafy. I think she's been compelled. I'm really sorry I disappointed you back at the cabin. I'm not honestly sure why I cleaned the attic. To be honest, I don't feel really well today. My head feels jumbled. I'm not sure what came over me. Once I get to feeling better, I hope I can do more to help you, to really help. We'll see. Until then, please just do as I say. And right now, I want you to stay away from the evidence I brought back with me. Yes, okay, I understand. She's compelled. She's a Renfield. She's got the vampire bite and everything. She shuffles away, looking morose and dejected. Oh, leafy enough to be a plant. Against my will, my gaze shifts to August's empty cell. I wonder what he would say about all of this. I sigh, shake my head helplessly. As the saying goes, if the world gives you lemons, you make lemonade. But only if you've got some sugar. The next day I find myself dragging my feet to Danny Richards' old house, now August's. By now I've already wrestled with my decision to seek his help at least a dozen times. At first I tell myself that I should never go to a serial killer for help, and I've probably lost my mind. We had to let him out. A vampire compelled the mayor to make us do it. Then I consider all the practical reasons he might help me with the missing persons case, along with the fact that I'd like to keep an eye on him. I told you what you'd missed. You weren't listening. Reminding myself of the latter, I take a deep breath and finally knock on the door. I wait for such a long time that I start to worry he isn't home. Is he getting into trouble already? And the door cracks open ever so slightly, and I see his blue eyes peering out at me.
Huh?
Sheriff Wright? You sound genuinely surprised. I can't resist the smug smile. I guess you can't predict my actions as well as you thought. He opens the door wider.
Sheriff?
I assumed you'd come knocking sooner or later, just not quite this soon. I'm surprised to see him looking even more haggard than usual, and I'm used to seeing him in prison. He's as unkempt as ever, quite pale, and there are rings under his eyes. Well, are you going to invite me in? Unless maybe you're hiding something in there.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I'm sure you'll invite yourself one way or another. Unless perhaps you're a vampire and you'll burn upon the threshold. That was a joke, but from the look on your face, I wonder if I hit upon some shred of truth. Oh, shut up. I push the door open and walk into the house. It's dark and dusty inside. I expected as much for a home that's been abandoned for weeks. I mean, for weeks? No. Months, maybe? Years, yes. What I don't expect is to see clothes and junk strewn about. A couple of chairs have been knocked over and some sort of dishware, perhaps a plate, is smashed across the floor. Was the place like this when you moved in? He sighs heavily as he closes the door behind me. No, this is embarrassing. What happened in here, August?
Well,
Nothing of importance, I promise. I just had a minor temper tantrum. This place was already a mess, but I made it a little messier. You had a temper tantrum?
oh, spare me.
Stop looking at me like that. I know what you're thinking. What puerile and disturbed conduct. Surely this is the behaviour of a wanton serial killer. But I assure you I merely had a bad night. I also got drunk for the first time in years, and I'm still nursing my hangover. But I don't understand. Shouldn't you be happy now that you're free of your cell? Yes, one would think. I suppose that's the problem. I expected to be joyful and industrious once I got out. I thought I would have new revelations about this town and why we're stuck in it. When that didn't happen, well, I suppose you could say I had a brief chat with despair. You can't talk to despair.
Is that so?
Tell that at the bottom of my liquor bottle. Is liquor going to be a problem for you now? No, too expensive. I don't have a job, and soon this town will figure out money is worthless, and I likely even have less to barter. But I'll have to find some new vice to indulge in, I suppose. My previous vice of choice. That no longer seems to be an option. I fix him with a dark scowl. I'm kidding. I just wanted to see that expression on your face. Embarrassment aside, it does cheer me up to see you again, Sheriff. To what do I owe the pleasure? I take a deep breath, still reluctant to admit that I want his help. Do you still have any liquor around? I might. He disappears for a moment. I hear dishes clanking around, then he motions me into the kitchen with some whiskey in a glass. He pours a generous amount and then hands it over. Bottoms up. I hesitate before drinking. You first.
Well,
As I said, I'm hungover, but if you insist. He takes the glass and downs a solid gulp, then he refreshes the whiskey and hands it back. Satisfied, I indulge in a large gulp of my own. I sigh as the warm burn rushes down my throat, then go for more.
Erica.
See, no poisons or roofies in your drink, just a subtle, sweet mixture of my saliva with yours on the glass. Hell! Sputter into the middle of my next sip, then I angrily set the whiskey glass down. Why do you have to ruin everything, August? Maybe you should go ahead and say what you came here to say before my teasing goes too far. After all, the suspense is killing me. Fine, I'll get straight to the point. I don't trust Maddie. I think either Maddie or the Patales had something to do with Jessica's disappearance. Today, Maddie cleaned up an important crime scene, or what I suspect was a crime scene, before I could examine it. I don't trust her. I don't trust the Patales, and I don't trust anyone the Patales have under their control. And the Patales control most of the town.
How interesting.
You don't seem surprised.
Duh.
No, I suspected Maddie was only there to spy for the Patales, or as you say, disrupt your investigation. Oh, that's right, you know everything, don't you? I only know the truth, that there is no truth, therefore I know nothing, but knowing nothing allows me to know a great deal more than you. I pour myself some whiskey. So, you want my help? I wouldn't reject your assistance. You'll have to be clearer than that, Erica. I'm not your prisoner anymore, and I won't follow you around like a lapdog. But you're bored and unhappy, aren't you? Fine, I'll say it. I want your help, but I'm not sure what this means just yet. I don't think I can find Maddie. After all, the Patales didn't care about my opinion when they forced her to join me.
Well,
If you're implying you want me to do something about Maddie. Oh, no! Good, because I would have refused, of course. This isn't the time for games, August. 2 people are missing and the trailer's going cold. May I offer a suggestion? I'm listening. The Batale Church is holding a service tomorrow. Julian invited you, didn't he? Yes, but I'm not a churchgoer.
reductio ad
Then say your
absurdum.
prayers and read the Bible tonight. I think we should go. The Batales built that church, didn't they? Charlotte's father or great-grandfather or something. How do you know that? I went by there shortly after you released me, but it was empty. I read the plaque near the door, but then I got to drinking, so the details, they're hazy. Maybe we'll learn something valuable about their family and their followers. Besides, don't you want to hear more about Lucius Christ? I suppose I don't have any better ideas.
Marvelous.
Good. Then it's a date. If you're going to work with me, August, you'll have to stop with the
Try
jokes.
spinning in a circle.
And if you're going to work with me, then you'll have to endure them, Sheriff Wright. Otherwise, this won't be any fun at all. So do we have a date or don't we? I take one more swig of whiskey and sigh helplessly. See you tomorrow morning. Please be voiced then. The story's great. This is a really cool game, but the mixture of voicing and not voicing is driving me nuts. I'm surprised to find August waiting for me just outside the church. I knew he was interested in whatever was happening here, but I suspected he'd failed to show up when it was actually time to investigate. I also figured he might be hungover again.
Sheriff?
You're late. Excuse me. The sermon started 15 minutes ago. I know, I'm not here for that. I'm here to talk to Charlotte Pateo.
Is that so?
Well, I'm here for both, so let's hurry so we don't miss all of it. You're religious all of a sudden?
Oh, spare me.
I'm curious, as you should be. I just want to find Jessica and Gary. It's clear that Charlotte Pateo knows something she doesn't want me to know. So, absolutely no idea where the people at this church, and only this church, use the name Lucius instead of Jesus. That's not really my concern. It's a free country.
Hope is
You
evil.
told me yesterday that none of us are free. I'm just saying that it's not my pressing concern, and I will have to take it upon myself to investigate this for you. Please don't.
Well,
Shall we head inside before we miss any more of the sermon? I suppose. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. Everything is quiet as we enter. The pastor, a woman named Kimberly, who I've seen around town, but never spoken to, has taken a pause for a dramatic effect. Hey, the cross is sideways, and also everything's purple. Damn it! They co-opted purple! There are 50 or so people in the church. I see Mrs. Murdoch as well as both Charlotte and Julian Battelle near the front of the chapel. No one turns to look at me as I enter, but Pastor Kimberly fixes me with a slightly accusatory gaze from her pulpit. I find a seat near the back. Regrettably, August sits down right next to me. He gives me a smile and I try to hide my disgust. And so Lucius, the Prince of Peace, the flame undisturbed, spoke to the supplicant with the tale of a rich man who had abundant fields. This wealthy farmer found one harvest that he did not have enough room in his granary for all the grain he had reaped, and he wondered to himself what he could do with it. Rather than reinvest his wealth and build new barns, he chose to give his surplus grain to the less fortunate farmers around him. God came to him in that night and said, "You are a fool. How will the other farmers become as prosperous as you if you simply provide for them when they fail to reap their own crops?" And God also asked the farmer, "What if you were to die tonight? What would those other farmers do without you now that they have learned to depend on your hard work?" You see, this farmer could have used his success to expand its farm and become an example to the others, so they might similarly better themselves. Instead, he chose to make them depend on him. I lean over and whisper to August. No matter what else he is, I know he's probably the only person in this room who can answer my question truthfully. It's been years since I went to church, but this is all wrong, isn't it? This isn't how the story goes. Oh, you're absolutely correct. Curious yet? The pastor shoots me another withering glance, and I quickly end this conversation. She goes on for another 10 minutes, discussing the virtues of wealth and the accumulation of wealth. I spent over 15 years since my days in Catholic school, but by the end I'm left either questioning everything I've heard, or everything I remember. I want to say it's wrong. I want to stand up and tell them that Lucius Marius Christ, the full name of their saviour, isn't real. But I can't. The longer I stay in my seat, the more I start to question my own recollection of the Bible. Were they the ones giving the wrong name, the wrong lessons? Was it my own mind forgetting the truth?
No.
You're not crazy, Sheriff, right? What? I can tell what you're thinking, and you're not crazy. That's not comforting coming from you.
Whatever you say.
I thought you needed to hear it from someone. Pastor Kimberly wraps up her sermon and everyone gets up and begins to disperse. A few people head to a barbecue outside, others leave and go about their day. Oh! Brilliant, Dan! Do share. Good luck with your mission. What? I have questions for the pastor, very in-depth questions. I assume you're headed for the Battelles before they return to their mansion. Entirely possibly, Dan. Or vampires. Though that's probably the same thing. Please don't make me regret coming in with you.
Sheriff?
I wouldn't dare. He smiles again and makes a beeline for Pastor Kimberly, nudging himself in front of a few other people who clearly had questions for the leader of the church. Okay. Excuse me. Meanwhile, I approach Charlotte Pateo with questions of my own.
Erica, I am so glad that you were able to come by this morning. I hoped that you would eventually join the flock. There is so much good we can do here in Battelle, and...
I'm not here to join anything.
Oh,
We need to talk about the girl you pushed into being my deputy.
Maddie. I thought you'd like her. She seems like your type.
My type?
Never mind. Maybe I read you wrong. Maybe I was a little hopeful.
Why did you really get her assigned to work with me?
I don't understand.
You were trying to cover something up about Jessica Murdoch, and you made that mayor hire Maddie so she could do the dirty work.
I'm sorry. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I walked into that cabin where I know Jessica and Gary were staying, and Maddie had scrubbed down the walls and the floors. Isn't that a little suspicious? Her? And her brother? Slash husband?
She has
Slash
always
lover?
been something of a clean freak. Is that a problem?
At a crime scene, yes.
What a shame. I'm sorry she isn't working out. But I will have to insist that she remain on your staff. If you still haven't found the missing kids, it's clear you need all the help you can get.
Oh, right, you're talking about real life. Yeah, I don't know anyone's names. Aside from the baboon. Bumbling baboon. You're pushing your luck.
What exactly are you threatening to do?
I'm going to figure out what your family is up to here. Jessica, the train, the towers, you and your brothers. She thought it was all connected, and now I'm starting to agree. Before Charlotte can come up with a response, I noticed someone listening attentively. I'm not sure how long he's been standing there, but he's actually quite close. Charlotte seems to notice at the same time. She sighs
Do you have
heavily.
something you want to say, Liam?
Not really. I'm sorry, Charlotte. I couldn't help but overhear.
His golden eyes fix on me, gleaming with curiosity. I can't help but stare back at him.
All right. You two haven't met. Erica, this is my brother, Liam. Adopted, in case you wanted to ask. Liam, this is Erica Wright, our most recent sheriff.
It's nice to meet you.
Likewise.
The smile on his face is warm enough to dissolve the chill coming off Charlotte.
Liam, this woman has questions about our family, and I am growing rather tired of them. Maybe you can entertain her.
Without any further ado, she turns around and starts talking to someone else. Liam and I stand awkwardly for a moment.
Please forgive my sister's lack of manners.
Thanks, I'll try, but I can't make any promises. He smiles again, and his expression is so warm that I can't help but smile back.
So, how do you like being sheriff?
The question catches me off guard. How do I like it?
Sure. Is it the sort of work you enjoy?
I enjoyed being an FBI agent. Now, well, it doesn't really matter how much I like anything, does
I
it?
believe it still matters. If I didn't enjoy my work as an engineer, I'd go crazy.
You an engineer? What kind?
Oh, I dabble in a few varieties. Mechanical, architectural, electrical. I learn as much as I can, really. Anyways, like I was saying, if you don't enjoy being sheriff, maybe we can find you a job you'd enjoy more.
What sort of job? Do you expect me to tend chickens? No, thank you. Who would even replace me? I shudder to think of who your family would hire for the job after they sent me a deputy who cleans evidence from crime scenes. Maybe you're just trying to get me off the case.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm sure you make a great sheriff. And as for your new assistant, I'm really sorry you don't like her. I can't speak to her qualifications, but Maddie's a nice girl. I just asked because, well, you seem pretty high-strung.
Oh,
No offense.
Thanks. Are there any guys that are high-strung, or is it just women you'd bestow that compliment on? I can't afford to relax in my line of work. I'm already really annoyed by the fact that it's Sunday, which means most of the town shuts down and I can't get much work done.
I can see how that might seem strange to someone who didn't grow up in a small town.
Oh,
I take it you're not usually the church-going type.
and what gave me away? Double dope.
That constant look of disgust on your face.
I'm sorry. He laughs warmly.
Please, don't be. I get it. I get it completely.
He leans in close and lowers his voice.
Honestly, I don't believe in any of this shit. I just like getting away from our stuffy old mansion.
Really?
Sure. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice place, but any place gets old after a while. Have you ever been inside the Patel mansion?
No, I haven't.
That's too bad. Maybe I can show you around sometime. Beautiful building.
Even has an indoor swimming pool.
Nice teeth. He winks. I want to be annoyed, or at least guarded, because it's another Patel, but I'm not annoyed. I'm smiling back at him. Maybe I'll take you back on that offer. Up on that offer. I have a lot of questions about your family. Your siblings haven't been very forthcoming.
I know how that is. They can be real assholes sometimes. I'll try to make up for as much of that as I can.
Maybe I can try my luck with Liam right now by asking more questions. Ask about the train, ask about the towers. I wonder if he knows about the Battail Repatriation Society. Have you heard of the Battail Repatriation Society?
It does sound familiar.
Familiar? So you have heard of it
I
before?
think so. Something about trying to escape Battail? What's so special about it? Everyone wants to escape, right?
This group might be connected to missing teenagers. If you can remember any other details, it would help me a lot.
That does sound interesting. I don't remember anything else right now, but if I do, I'll let you know.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. Charlotte appears beside me. I could have sworn she was in the middle of talking to someone else just a second ago.
You two getting along?
I kind of like Liam. Liam grins at his sister. Strangely enough, the smile he gives her seems more forced than the ones he gave me.
We're getting along fine. You didn't tell me how cool Erica was.
Oh, please, Liam. You think everyone is cool. Erica, I hope you don't expect Liam to help you investigate anything. He's as sweet as a peach and as smart as a whip, but he's not very good at committing to hard work. Isn't that right, brother?
Hey, that's not...
His voice trails off until he stops and looks away.
See? He can't deny it.
I think I smell Mary's latest donation of Sunday biscuits in the office. That's my cue. It was nice to meet you, Erica. Really. I hope we can talk more sometime.
He hurries off even as I struggle with how to respond. Yes, you too. Charlotte laughs as if bemused by my awkwardness.
Oh, I'm so glad you two hit it off. But I should warn you, he's a moody one. Now, it has been so much fun chatting with you, but if you'll please excuse me.
Twirling a strand of hair around her finger, she saunters away. Those weird random blobs of paint. Can't talk to him now.
Erica?
Are you heading out? Yes, Sunday or not, I still have work to do.
Of course.
But I hope you're not working every single day of the week. Perhaps with Maddie around, you can take more time off. I doubt that. Listen, I already chatted with Charlotte about this, but Maddie disrupted my investigation. I'm starting to wonder why you forced her on my staff. She disrupted your investigation? How so? She wiped an area clean of evidence. The area might have been a crime scene, but now I'll never know. I'm sure it was all just a misunderstanding. I don't think so.
We should discuss this further.
In that case, I will have a talk with her. I'll make sure she falls in line. I remember the way Maddie pleaded not to make the Battails mad at her. I'm still furious at her, but now I feel a prick of guilt. There's no need for that. The harm has been done, and Charlotte made it clear I have no choice but to keep Maddie on staff. I'll do my best to train her from here on out. Please don't do anything else. Not sure what else to say. I turn to go. I turn around only to find him standing incredibly close to me. A strange aroma brushes my nose. It's very subtle and sweet, like a rose. Cologne, I suppose. Then I realize the strangest thing about the smell. Normally, even under cologne, one can smell the human body wearing it while standing this close. I don't smell anything at all under the soft tint of rose. Almost as if Julian has no scent at all. I feel as if we keep finding ourselves at odds, and I'm not sure why. You're suspicious of my behavior. Let's do something that doesn't involve your missing persons case. Something a little more neutral. How about I take you to dinner? The question catches me off guard. I simply stand back and gawk at him. Dinner at a restaurant. I'll pay. Yes, I understand. I'm surprised. So, the idea doesn't completely revolt you? No, I mean...
Good.
Are you free tonight? Well, maybe, but Excellent. What's your favorite restaurant? Once again, I found myself gawking at him with bewilderment. My favorite restaurant? You do realize there's only one restaurant in Battail, and that's the Prospector Cafe. The diner? I have the satisfaction of seeing him squirm a moment. You forgot.
I...
Don't down in time very often. Ever? Well, in that case, he clears his throat and seems to struggle with his words. Perhaps I can think of something else. No, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with the diner. We can eat there. I fight back a smile of pure amusement. Usually the only time he mingles with the townsfolk is at church, where he can still lord over them. This date will be incredibly awkward for him. I'm going to enjoy every second of it. Does 6 o'clock work for you?
Well...
Let's make it 8. That's a little late for dinner, don't you think? I prefer to eat late. Okay, see you then. August is waiting for me at the car.
Hello there.
Find what you needed from the Battails? Not at all, but I have a date with Julian at the diner.
Huh?
What? You heard me.
Oh, this is interesting.
Are you attracted to him? I can't quite say no, because I do find Julian physically attractive. August seems to know this and smiles. I'm going so I can learn more about him.
Whatever you say.
In any case, while you were flirting with Julian, I got some very interesting information from the pastor. She seems utterly convinced the name of her saviour and the saviour of us all is actually Lucius Marius Christ. Sounds like a Death Eater. I asked her about Jesus and she seemed confused. She said some strange church across town switched from calling him Lucius to Jesus around the same time as the contingency. And would you believe it, she thinks they are connected. Now if I go to this other church, I suspect they will... Do you think any of this church nonsense relates to our missing persons? Do you think it has anything to do with the Battail Repatriation Society?
I don't think so.
But not impossible. This was a waste of time. The Battails are hiding something, and I'm not any closer to figuring out what. Oh, but you have a hot date at least. Maybe Julian will let his guard down. Maybe I can get him to reveal something new. Like his undergarments, perhaps? I resist the urge to smack him across the face. Stop resisting. For now, I'm taking you home. I thought working with you would be much more exciting. You're not off the hook yet. Plan to meet me at the precinct tomorrow morning. Hopefully by then I'll have an idea of what to try next. Battail is quiet on Sundays. Quieter than normal. It's the only day the dollar store isn't open, and usually the town nurse takes the day off as well. At the moment I don't have many leads, and I doubt anyone wants to be disturbed today, so I go home. I can only hope I find more information by meeting up with Julian at the diner later tonight. I plan to spend the day keeping to myself, preparing for the strangely interesting evening to come with Julian Battail. Unfortunately, the day off means that Stacy has nowhere to be, and she comes home just as I'm sitting down to go over the notes on the Jessica Murdoch disappearance.
Oh, hello.
So how was church? Did you enjoy yourself? Tell me, Stacy, do you believe in Jesus Christ or Lucius Christ? What? However could you ask me such a thing? There is no Lucius Christ. I'm surprised by how flustered the question seems to make her. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand the difference between the two denominations.
That's awful.
I didn't know you were going to a Lucian church. It's awful. I wouldn't call the Lucians a denomination. Their religion is false. There are people who fell to the influence of the devil on the day of the contingency. Never mind. Whatever it is, it's outside of my pay grade. I'm here to find people, not gods. Come now, Erica, there's only one god. Well, it's not my job to figure out what's going on with him. You seem anxious today, even more anxious than usual. I have a date with Julian Battail this evening.
What?
I talked to him at the Anointed Lucian Church. He asked me out. We're going tonight to the diner.
What?
Julian Battail doesn't eat at the diner. He made that very clear. He was also willing to make an exception for me.
That's great.
Maybe you can ask him about the train. The train? You too? I have a huge favour to ask of you, Erica. Ooh, share your clue, Dan. Well? Please, Erica, I don't like to ask you for anything. You already do so much good work at your job, and I'm grateful. But this would mean so much to me, and... Calm down, Stacy. Tell me what you want.
Let's see.
I need to know something new about the train. Something no one has heard before. Jessica was interested in the train too. No, this is Bataille. Bottle in French is bouteille. Closer to battle. Jessica was interested in the train too. I'm definitely going to ask about it, but what do you care? It's kind of embarrassing. Now I'm even more interested. This is the last step, so I can join the Order of the Line. The train cult?
Hey!
They aren't a cult. They are absolutely a cult.
That's wrong!
Without the train, it brings food and medicine and clothes and everything we need. Shouldn't we respect it? Shouldn't we study it? I understand the fascination. It's the only sign we have that anyone beyond the town even knows about our situation. Clearly someone is sending those supplies, but that's all the train carries, supplies. There's nothing else to find. Unless you have some way of crossing the towers, we just have to accept what it brings us. It's the same. You.
I don't know.
Maybe you do, maybe I do, but Julian Bataille knows more than either of us. He oversees the distribution of the train supplies. And I need a new piece of information. I need to be able to bring something useful to the Order so they'll make me a full member. Then what? What do you mean? What happens when you're a full member of the Order? I get to send messages on the train. Do you mean those boxes the Order stores away when you think no one's looking? Yeah, that's what I said. Bataille. But it's pronounced Bataille in this rather than Bataille, which is what I wanted to say when I first read the thing. Yeah, that's what I said. It means battle, not bottle. Bataille, Bataille. Different vowels. Why would you want to do that? They'd never heard anything back. Ah, exactly, Elkesh.
But...
Yeah, but those messages go somewhere. Every week the Order manages to plant a small shoebox full of messages on the train. They'd never gotten a response, but the messages don't come back. What do you mean? Colleen says that every time the shoebox is gone. Colleen Hughes, right? She leads the Order? That's right, and thanks to her we know that someone is collecting the messages. Someone is getting them. I thought you believed the world has fallen to demons. But what if some good folks are still out there? Why do you care anyway? You don't believe anything gets out of this town. Danny Richards proves that, and at least in regard to this goddamn train. Maybe the shoebox explodes at the towers too. It just disintegrates into nothing. And because of that, the Order of the Line has a couple of dozen people running around like it's a lifeline up down. Or because no one can see what really happens. It's destroyed, just like everything else.
Erica...
Would you believe that? Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. Why would you believe anything different? Battle makes more sense.
God has a plan.
Even if you don't, it's worth hoping. I guess you're not used to putting faith into much of anything, but if you tried, you'd understand. It really means that much to you?
I don't know.
If I can get a message on this train, maybe I can tell my parents I'm okay. Who knows if it's real? Who knows if the message explodes just like you say? But what harm is there in trying? The harm is in the hope, Stacy. But even so, I'll do what I can.
That's great!
Thank you. There's just what I need to... Just don't get your hopes up. My priority is finding our missing persons, but if I learn something new about the train, I'll tell you. Thanks again. I hope you enjoy your date. Julian Bataille. Bataille, I can't believe it. He's so handsome, not to mention powerful and rich. It's not...
Oh, you're something else.
Have fun, Erica. You deserve it. I can't wait to hear all about it. Battle! Battle! Not bottle! You can't stick rum in 'em. Stacy leaves and heads to her room. I can't get what she said out of my head. I know there's no way out of Bataille, but why am I so insistent that even a box of messages can't reach the outside world? No one knows what happens to the train when it leaves the towers. No one knows who restocks it. No one knows who controls it and brings it back to town. Why is it so hard to believe that it can provide even a glimmer of hope? I don't even know who I can talk to about this. Everyone else belongs here. They're trapped in Bataille, but Bataille is their home. I mean, hope is poisonous. You know. Hope can be poisonous. I think that's what they said earlier in the game. Bataille is not my home. There's exactly one person who understands that, and he's a serial killer. What am I supposed to do? Talk about it with him? I put it out of my head. I still have a job to do. I have to find Jessica Murdoch, and I believe my so-called date with Julian Bataille will give me a chance to find more about her and the days before she disappeared. As I walk into the diner, I ask myself why I'm doing this. Obviously, I want to learn more about the mysterious Bataille family. This seems like my best chance to do so. In that case, why does my heart flutter when I step into the diner and look around for him? Am I worried I didn't dress nicely enough? I'm not doing this for the sake of a romantic pursuit, but I can't deny the fact that Julian is incredibly attractive. He's not at the diner yet, so I get a table for us and wait. A few minutes pass, I order some coffee. A few more minutes pass, then 10 more. Did Julian Bataille stand me up? Finally, right when I'm about to give up and leave...
Sorry.
So sorry I'm late. I never noticed him come in. Now that I look at him, though, I can't imagine how I missed him. He looks completely out of place at the diner. At church his suit wasn't quite so conspicuous, but in the rugged diner he's like a rose in a field of daisies. He slips quickly into the bench across from me, then scoots to the corner as if to hide himself. I glance around and notice that most of the people in the diner are staring at our booth. Perhaps they recognized him. He looks a bit like that guy from the labyrinth. As amusing as it is, I'm not thrilled about the extra attention myself. I turn back to Julian and try my best to ignore everyone else. You're 23 minutes late.
But...
I said, I'm sorry. He seems irritated, but for some reason that just makes me even angrier. If your plan is to impress or seduce me, then you're off to a very poor start.
Erica.
I deeply apologize. His tone shifts now. He leans over the table and stares at me with those intense reddish eyes, and then speaks in a husky tone.
I'll make it up to you.
I shift in my seat, trying to ignore the obvious impact of his voice. You can't give me back the time you wasted. Just make sure you don't do it again.
We'll figure something out.
I'll do my best, though I can't offer any guarantees. Sometimes things come up. I'm sure you understand. I suppose. Can you tell me then what came up? Before Julian can reply, the waitress arrives and asks for our order. I request a chicken sandwich and fries. Without looking at the menu, Julian orders their best steak and red wine. Once she leaves, I return quickly to the matter at hand. So, you were about to tell me why you were late. You really can't let this go, can you? No, I don't like to waste time, especially when there are 2 teenagers missing and I'm trying to find them.
I see.
Have you reached a dead end then? Did you not find something useful at the Reed's cabin? How do you know I searched the Reed's cabin? I spoke to Maddie this afternoon. What? I told you this morning you've already interfered enough with Maddie. I just wanted to check on her, see how she was doing. Are the 2 of you friends?
Well...
Not exactly. She's been an acquaintance for some time. She ran PR for the hotels I managed in the Ozarks. Interesting. I resist the urge to take out a notebook and make a physical note of this. It's still supposed to be a date, after all. What else did she tell you about the cabin? She seemed hopeful. She indicated you found something useful, that's all. She shouldn't have told you anything at all, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised at this point. An awkward silence passes, then I realise. You derailed the conversation again. You still haven't told me why you were late. Ugh. His voice is loud enough to draw a few curious glances. Gnashing his teeth, Julian sinks into the booth and fixes me with a heated glare. I was negotiating the cost of a delivery. It was more difficult than expected. Does that satisfy you? A delivery? Does this have something to do with the fact the train is coming tomorrow? Yes, if you must know. So you manage what happens to the supplies once they arrive?
More or less.
Who gave you that authority? Would you prefer I step aside and let the whole town drag supplies off the train as they see fit? It would be chaos. If someone didn't oversee the process, some idiots would argue about who gets which can of beans, and eventually people would start killing each other. Even now, my guards must sometimes use force to keep people away from the train and its cargo.
People need order.
I gave myself the authority because I could and no one opposed me. Unless you'd like to be the first. Ugh. System's fine. You could do better. I mean, he's not hoarding it, so I guess. I suppose that if you hadn't stepped forward, there would have been chaos. Certainly, and who else could have stepped forward other than my family? I don't know. The mayor? Julian laughs. Mayor Ward performs his job well enough, but supervising the train requires a firm hand. He doesn't have one. I see your point. The waitress arrives with our food. I don't realise how hungry I am until the delicious chicken sandwich and fries dazzle my senses. I dive right in. Julian, on the other hand, stares quietly at his steak for some time. Pokes it a couple of times with his knife. Is everything all right? Yes, it just seems a little overcooked. I guess you have your own chefs at the Patel mansion.
I
Usually prepare my own food. I have certain preferences. Never mind, what's that saying? Variety is the spice of life. Very slowly he cuts a piece of steak and slowly brings it to his mouth. I don't mean to stare, but I can't help myself. Finally he puts the steak in his mouth, chews, stops. I might imagine it, but his face seems to turn slightly green. Are you sure you're alright? He doesn't reply, but after some time he closes his eyes and swallows. He's a vampire. He's definitely not vegan. I'm fine, quite fine. The serial killer's a vegan. You know, I mean, that says something, right? He reaches for his wine and sips that next. It seems to go down smoother. We're both quiet as we return to our meal. He continues to eat, albeit very slowly, and sometimes the look on his face suggests he'll turn around and vomit. But he keeps eating, and so do I. When it comes time to collect the check, I can't hold back my question anymore. Why did you really ask me out on this date?
It is my pleasure.
So I could get to know you and you could get to know me. You seem to resent me, or perhaps suspect me, but I think you'll find that our interests align, so there's no reason to oppose each other. We both want peace and stability in Battail, isn't that right? The check arrives. Julian quickly pays it with a large stack of cash. The waitress blushes, mutters her thanks, and hurries off.
Erica?
Your turn. Why did you accept my invitation? Because I wanted to learn about you too. Remembering my original plan, I'm struck with sudden inspiration. If our interests truly align, then I suppose I can tell you something. Maybe you'll have some insight. I found evidence that Jessica and Gary stayed in the cabin, but I also found a third fingerprint, one I haven't yet been able to identify. I found it in the attic. And there it is, the reaction I baited him for. Julian's eyes go wide, he sits up straighter. Then after just a moment, he tries to suppress it. That sounds promising, perhaps. On the other hand, even if someone else was in the cabin, that wouldn't mean very much, would it? Perhaps it was just someone passing through the woods. It could mean anything. It might mean something, it might mean nothing, but figuring out who the fingerprint belongs to could give us the lead.
Good.
Fantastic. Julian looks especially pale as he downs the rest of his wine. Ready to go? I didn't get to ask about the train. Before we go our separate ways, Julian moves in a little closer to me. He lowers his voice so I have to lean in to hear it. I didn't only ask you out on a date to learn more about you. I also asked you because, well... He puts his hand on my shoulder, then moves it to my neck, caressing ever so softly. He leans closer, perhaps to kiss me. My heart races. I shouldn't want this, and yet, as I stare into his eyes, I want him to keep coming closer. Someone exits the diner and moves past us. Julian immediately stiffens and draws back. At last, his hand moves down my arm and takes my hand. He leans down, brings my hand to his lips, and kisses it tenderly. It seems very old-fashioned, and yet I feel a pleasant tingle radiate from my hand through my body, and I don't want him to stop. Have a good night, Erica. You too. My heart beats heavily as I turn to walk home. Did I just two? I lied about the fingerprint, but I had to. I needed to know if he was hiding something. His reaction confirmed what I already suspected. Maddie successfully erased the trail of someone else in that cabin, and I need to figure out who. Right, we're gonna finish here. End of chapter 2. I can't hit save yet. There we go. Okay. Save. That was perfect timing on the end of chapter 2. I don't know how many chapters there are, but based off the number of achievements, we're pretty much almost halfway. Assuming the achievements are doled out approximately randomly. Approximately, equally. And I think we only have to get to one ending to get all the achievements. So, yeah. Excuse me. So, yeah. With that, I'm going to do more of this because I don't know about you, but I want to find out what happens. And I kind of want to do it on stream. I was expecting something cool and mysterious, and I got something really cool and mysterious. So aside from the voices being sporadically voiced, which annoys me, it's a really good game. So, plans for the week. I'm hoping to do another co-stream with Jessie on Thursday, but we haven't decided which game, so I will need to confirm before confirming that with everyone else. I will be streaming on Thursday, and if we're not able to do a co-stream, then I'll probably do more of this. Otherwise, I'll pick more of this up next week on Tuesday. There's no rush. The town of Bataille will still be there. Crimson Spires. It's a good game. There won't be a stream on Saturday because I'm going to a barbecue. But I'll be back on Sunday, though, to do the final chapter of a definitive season of The Walking Dead. Which will finish Clementine's journey, or at least the one in the video game. Yeah. We'll then have to pick something else to do. But Life is Strange True Colors is coming out on Thursday. So, there's always that. Anyway. For now, I've been Joe, otherwise known as Angel SK. Thanks to Dama for the raid earlier. Havor is playing the lake, so let's go raid Havor. And give some love over there. And I will bid everyone good night. Have a great day. Bye.